So I'm proud to say that I got the final 2 bananas at the High Ridge in Walmart this morning. And
nice.
I was very happy about that. Oh, my God. I went out like at 9 o'clock, and I just needed a few things, and it wasn't because of the storm or anything. It was really because I needed Diet Coke, and you know about my addiction to that. And I couldn't believe how little was on the shelves even this morning. So if you haven't got your bread and your eggs, you might not be able to get any of that right now.
Somebody put up a picture of a Sam's Club yesterday somewhere out west, and it was like the meat department had been decimated.
Right. So we're going to continue to update you on the forecast this afternoon. The Reardon Roundtable is going to kick off in just a couple of minutes. But first, and this is a little bit of a bummer because we were very much looking forward to having Jimmy Failla in town at the factory, but we have postponed that show, Jimmy, haven't we? How are you this afternoon?
Holy heck. Listen, I knew something was up with the weather because when I was watching the news this morning, they were telling New Yorkers to go pee indoors, which they never did. We've never done that about 100 years, according to the Farmer's Almanac. So that got my attention, and then I was like, let me check in on the gang in St. Louis. And, sure enough, over in Chesterfield, they want to play this one safe. So bummed out, but we're coming back.
Yeah.
We'll be there. We're going to make it happen.
So that's going to be April 11th is what I hear the new date is, right?
Yes, and if there's a blizzard April 11th, folks, the world's going to end. So don't worry about it.
We're going to be in great shape. And by the way, that is also a Saturday night, so it'll be great. But look, we were very much looking forward. Here's what I will tell you what's going to happen, though. We're only going to get a very little snow tomorrow, and I think everything would have been okay, and then all the heavy stuff comes in at 11 p.m., but it's one of those better safe than sorry. I mean, everyone's canceling everything here in St. Louis, Jimmy. And in New York, you got bigger snowfall totals up there than we're supposed to get for sure.
Yeah, they were talking about it's so crazy here. 18 inches, 55. At this point, I'm not sure if they're just messing with me because one guy said we're going to get 5 feet of snow. Guys, if 5 feet of snow is 2 entire Greg Gutfelds. That's a lot of snow.
Ouch! All right, Jimmy Failla. Now I'm really going to miss you tomorrow night for sure. But we'll see you in April. We'll have you on before that. And we'll hear you tonight at 6 o'clock after my show. So thanks for jumping on here this afternoon. Try to enjoy Snowpocalypse, okay?
You too.
All right, we'll see. See ya. That is, a little bit. I was looking forward to it because he was going to have us on stage, and we'll do that on April 11th, which is a Saturday night. Okay, so Sue, you doing okay this afternoon?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to check in. You're here. We're going to do Sue's News in the next hour. This is the first, Jane-less Reardon Roundtable in 2 weeks because I wasn't here last week. So we have 2 people on the panel this afternoon. State Representative Steve Butts is here. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Mark, doing great. Hope we're going to not have a repeat of that blizzard of 82 you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
That was the real deal.
That was the one where that was not in the forecast. I mean, it was like rain in the forecast, so it caught everyone by surprise. We have Sean Flower here, the mayor of Eureka, Missouri, in with us. Hello, Sean. How are you?
Doing excellent.
Well, let me start talking just about Snowpocalypse here. We'll get to some of these other issues relatively quickly. Steve, one of the stories yesterday, and we went through this a year ago, and this may be what eventually was the nudge that pushed Tashara out of office with the storm from last year. But Karis says now we're going to plow the streets in the city of St. Louis. That sounds
shocking.
I know, but see, wait a second here. That sounds great, but how do you do it with all the cars?
Well, that's a challenge. Of course, it's going to be. There's still going to be plenty of streets that need to be plowed, should be plowed. It was, I think, the final straw that broke the back for Tashara, but it is hilarious that I'm like every municipality everywhere has figured out snow plowing, except the city of St. Louis.
Cars in Eureka.
See?
And we plow the streets.
But you have driveways, and we don't.
We got
alleys, can't figure out how to move our cars.
Yeah.
They figured it out in Kansas City. We'll figure it out.
All right. Yeah. What do you go through in Eureka with this? I mean, is there coordination with the county and the state? And you don't really. Eureka doesn't have their
roads. We've got MoDOT's got a road going through there, and then we have our own roads that we do that we
but
take care
did you
of.
have your own snow removal equipment in Eureka?
We have all our own public
Look at
works
that.
guys.
You ever drive those? Do you? Does the mayor get up there and say?
A little bit. I didn't do the photo op like they had last year with I think Sam and those guys are down there doing drive forever. I've never done that because they make fun of me down there.
Let's do it sometime, though. I think it sounds like fun.
The best they do is they give me clothes. So I've got all the public works gear from down there. I get swag out of the public works department.
And you think that's
they'll
cool?
They'll be up all night. I mean, those guys are coming in tomorrow, and I mean, they're all ready to go. It's a real deal.
Well, the one thing about this story is that everyone's taking it very seriously. There's no doubt about that. Now, here, let me just play this because we're going to give people updates this afternoon. Dave's going to be live at 4:04, but here's what he says right now.
No snow this evening, no snow overnight tonight, but it's cloudy, breezy, and bitter cold. 4 for the overnight low, wind chills below zero, well below zero. Saturday, cloudy skies, windy and bitter cold with light snow and snow flurries at times. Snow is going to be limited on Saturday, an inch or less across the St. Louis area. 14 for the high, wind chills below zero. Saturday night, the main event kicks in late night. Periods of snow mainly after 11 o'clock at night, Saturday night, 9 for the low. Sunday, periods of snow, heavy at times, windy and bitterly cold. The main window of opportunity for snow, heavy at times, will be 11 p.m. Saturday night until 3 p.m. on Sunday, 15 for the high on Sunday. Total snow accumulation by Sunday evening, 8 to 9 inches across St. Louis. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Dave will be here live, like I said, but he's given us extra updates this afternoon because the story does change just a little bit. But obviously, tomorrow I think is going to be relatively good. But then the last time when we got that November snow, the same thing happened. It happened overnight. I remember waking up, like 4 a.m, and I looked down, I'm like, oh yeah, it is snowing a little bit.
Hey,
so
I like winter. I'm one of the few.
I do too, Steve.
I really do. It's just getting
too
hot for me in St. Louis. I'm going to enjoy the next few days. We only get winter weather for about 2 weeks a year. So
the downfall for me is that it's that bitterly cold because I have this puppy now who is, part Siberian Husky, and I love running the dogs around in the snow, and they seem to have a good time. He had a good time. But when it's like, 0, or even today with the wind chill, it's biting with the cold. All right, let's get rolling here on some topics, and let me start with Minneapolis and the claim of the 5-year-old boy who was detained. And I still don't know if anyone really knows the truth on this, but let me give you a couple of different positions. Here is Congresswoman Angie Craig, Democrat.
So now ICE is using a 5-year-old boy. A 5-year-old boy. They took him and used him to lure his father out. And now they've detained them both.
DHS says this.
After conducting the arrest, my officers stayed with the child. They cared for him, took him to get something to eat from a drive-through restaurant, and spent hours ensuring he was taken care of. Tragically, when we approached the door of his residence, the people inside refused to take him in and open the door. Conejo Arias eventually requested that his child stay with him. We do everything in our power not to separate families. So they took him back together to Minneapolis, here to the city, to the ICE facility for processing.
And they're in Texas right now, is my understanding. Here's Greg Bovino.
Unfortunately, hundreds of thousands under that last administration. Not to mention the 300,000 lost children. 300,000 plus lost children are trafficked across that border. Now, when we've got the news media talking about children, I'd certainly love to hear more reporting on the 300,000 lost children.
So what if someone, and this may be happening today, although crime is down, but if someone is accused of a violent crime or murder or anything like that in St. Louis, and the St. Louis police go to arrest that person, there's a child in there, they're not going to leave the kid in the house alone. They're going to take the child and put them into custody. There was a narrative that emerged from the situation in Minnesota where a lot of the people that are opposed to ICE said, well, they were begging the ICE officers to let them take the kid. Well, who's going to just hand over, okay, yeah, you go take the kid. It's yours. There's a process for that. So one of the difficulties, I think, Steve, I'll start with you, is, look, I searched this right before the show, about an hour ago. And if you Google this and you try to find the actual facts of the case, it's very, very difficult. But the narrative's out there right now that ICE arrested a 5-year-old and they shouldn't have done that. And these are American citizens. So that's what the legacy media rolls with.
Yeah, I also tried to find the facts. I don't think they are available right now. It's just, I do agree with you on your first statement that if anybody, an adult, is going to be arrested for a crime, they're with their child, the police are just not going to hand that over to someone else saying, here. The child has to go into custody. I'm guessing, at least in Missouri, I'd hope we're calling, family services right away, making contact with another family member. That's the only way we can handle it. I do believe we try to not separate families. I felt that way even when we were making fun of Biden at the border, Obama at the border, Trump at the border. I really don't think.
But unfortunately, it does happen. It does happen. It's not part of the policy, but it has to happen just because of the circumstances. And then, of course, Sean, remember the Newsweek cover from a couple of years ago with the little boy and Trump, and that was completely fake. Right. So, I'd like to know exactly what's happening here. And I will say this, and I'm getting some pushback from the audience on this, all right? And that's fine. I'm cool with it. I feel like the administration is starting to lose their footing on the immigration issue. And it doesn't really matter, I guess, what the facts are because of the way the media handles this story, because perception is the reality. So I had a listener that kind of got on me today about this on Twitter. So I want to, kind of offer my perspective because, when I posted something about that story in Minneapolis and that there is a different narrative that, is emerging outside of what the Democrats are saying, the listener said to me, well, they lie, and that's why I'm trying to pull this up, but unfortunately I'm having the worst AT&T problems right now. I want to read this accurately. So the guy says, yeah, Mark, they lie. That's why I find it delusional when you moan over and over about the optics, because this week, I haven't said the word optics, but I'm worried about the way things are going down and the way the people are reacting. So I said this. Let's see how delusional this is in November. Mark the tweet, circle back. I care about the future of the damn country. I used a different word there. I can't say it on the radio. And the administration is losing on immigration right now. Whether the truth is being told or not, it doesn't really matter. Perception is the reality. And what you can say is, I can sit here and scream till I'm blue in the face, Sean, about the media complicity in this, and there is a lot of it. But I don't swing elections. You're a partisan. Sean, you're a partisan. The people listening right now, they're going to be partisans. They're paying attention. They're dialed in. Independents swing elections. You have an issue that a year ago Trump owned in this country on immigration. He's now underwater on. It's just the facts. And you can say the polling's inaccurate, but I think that you have people peeling away because of some of this. And some of the media coverage is not fair, and it's misleading. The bottom line is, I think the administration's in trouble here. I really do.
Okay, I do. So here's the reason why. So I have a family member, a nephew, and his wife, their little baby. They live in virtually downtown Minneapolis. So, you got to give them a call and see what's going on. Is what I'm watching on TV accurate? Are there that many people? He goes, it is true. It is an uprising of citizens, regular citizens, not paid crazy people coming from out of town to go protest in Minneapolis. These are Minnesotans protesting ICE. They want them out of their city. We can debate everything about it, but when you have thousands and thousands of Americans rising up together saying, we're demanding what we want.
We're demanding that you not
well, you
follow
can't
the law.
demand that you not follow the law. That's the other side of this.
But they are demanding that. They're demanding that ICE change their tactics. Just like we talked on here
what are they supposed to do?
With the shooting. Here's what they are supposed to do. One, this is the first thing I would do. Take your mask off, show your badge number, the way we would expect from any other officer.
Look, I'm going to stop you right there because
Sean,
look, I'm on the record here. I do not like the masked agents. I don't like it at all. I think it gives the wrong. If you want to give the left the narrative of the Gestapo, keep these guys with automatic weapons and a mask on. That's handing them that narrative.
As long as you say at the same time, as long as you recognize that there are people shooting at ICE facilities.
And I get that. And they're doxing them. Right.
Individual guys, and this is, I guess, this is the interesting part. That is not a risk a normal police officer, normal federal agent, normal FBI agent takes, is that the public will turn on you, and half of your bosses will turn on you. And that's the interesting part with the story is, if, say, we don't know the facts with the 5-year-old, they've got half of the people, because of partisan reasons, are willing to accept the worst case and stream it as fact no matter what. And that's what they do. I don't know how you can expect those guys to not get defensive and try and protect their families and their safety if you won't even give them the benefit of the doubt on a case that clearly looks borderline, and you immediately call them Gestapo and murderers and all. There's a problem, and there's so much wrong in Minnesota right now. I mean, you could say that they were protesting. I mean, while they burned their own city down. I mean, that area has got something wrong.
That's not what's happening this time.
But
that's not what's happening.
It might not be, but it's the same group of people up there to let their entire city get burned down. Nobody's gone back to a lot of the places that they're at. I mean, you have the ex-governor's wife up there talking about how they're all learning lessons, and the smell of this is great. I mean, that area has got an issue. And the number one, I would even compromise with you if you didn't have the mayor of Minneapolis saying, I will not turn over murderers out of the jails to them. There's a reason. And why is Minneapolis and Minnesota?
Because they're a sanctuary city and they don't cooperate with the feds.
Why is that reaction so different than anywhere else in the United States? And we're supposed to respect their reaction, which is childish compared to all the us, because they're just upset now on the heels of a massive, probably one of the biggest fraud scandals we've ever seen in the United States. So they're upset and they want ICE to go home about that, but you're not upset about $18 billion worth of Medicare fraud that should be going to poor citizens of Minnesota.
No,
That's the one that gets you out of bed, though, is ICE.
It's
not
could
this
be
complete stealing.
You could be very
from poor
upset
people.
about both.
But they're not.
You
hear nothing.
I am.
You hear nothing about it.
I
though,
am.
From the
You
people
talk
up
about
there.
doing nothing where I think Trump and this administration is losing its footing on this thing is we keep seeing these arrests, detainees, and the shooting of the good lady, etc. What we don't see are hardcore drug kingpins being arrested.
But they release that weekly. They release sheets and it gets zero coverage.
No.
It gets zero coverage. They release sheet after sheet.
You got to be. Nobody gets more coverage in this country than Trump.
But Bill
Trump.
Sean's right. Not on this. On these particulars, he went up there 2 days ago and he showed about 10 people that were very violent criminals.
There's been 3,000 felons with outside arrests out of Minneapolis since this started, and there's not one. There's no, and I'm not saying you got to cover every single one. There's zero. There's 99% negative ICE coverage, and you have 3,000 arrests of murderers, child rapists, all illegal immigrants.
All who have
there.
detainers.
And a lot of them have final orders of deportation.
Right.
And there's nothing. I mean, and that's all I'm saying is that, and that does make it hard for Trump. I would almost say you're right. If you're not seeing it, they got to keep pounding on it. But there is a structural problem in that we're just. We're doing this, and I'm not I don't know if the polling's accurate or not because it's the same thing with Trump where everybody, it always looks negative and then he shows up and somehow the polling doesn't seem to reflect what's there. But I mean, I don't know. I just didn't know.
We have to get the stories right, and that's where the media is failing because the narratives take off before we know the facts, and that's a big problem. So my concern really, just so people understand, I wish we could deport as many illegals as we can. I don't have any problem with that at all. I understand, Sean, you made some excellent points on ICE and why they would want to have their faces covered. But I'm looking forward to a broader situation with the midterms, and I'm going to boil it down to politics because if you lose the midterms and the Democrats are back in control of the House with a significant margin perhaps, that's not good. And I don't know where that takes us after 2026. So I'm not saying to back off and not do the immigration enforcement, but I do think they have to do a better job. If what we're saying is true about these criminals, get that out there. Tell people who you're arresting. Show the rap sheets. Do more communication.
But
and they're not doing that enough.
Right.
And I do think we are going to see that switch come the midterms. This is going to be one of many issues that people are just finally turning on the personality of Trump. That's the way I see it.
Well,
and I think
it has
the
to
Democrats,
hold.
we are going to take back the House, and it's going to be by 20 or 30 seats.
But here's one issue, and again, you kind of said the partisan thing. I agree. I'm a partisan on general, but I will say that it is, even if you win, would you guys please take violent criminals out of your existing city jails and hand them over to ICE? I mean, could at least the Democratic Party, regardless of who's in charge, could you take dangerous criminals, not release them when they have ICE detainers, and give them to people? And why can't that be a plank of the Democrat? I mean, because you're as critical as you are of Trump. Why wouldn't you run on that platform? We're going to do that. Get out of our city
because their party favors criminals every time over cops.
But that's why. The effect of the policies up there. You can't deny it. There's no reason to release them.
I can't deny it. We're going to be more and more pro-cop, and
I hope you do.
We are pro-police, but certainly civil rights, and certainly you make a very valid point on illegal immigrants that are in jail for doing crimes. They got to go.
We got to take a break. It's the Reardon Roundtable on Friday.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we had some earlier action going on eastbound 6440 at Hanley. It was a police incident. A lot of crews on the scene. They had eastbound 40 closed and were diverting traffic around it. It has now been reopened. And there is still a lane closed. If you're southbound on 170, they've got the left lane on the ramp or just at the beginning of the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 6440 closed. But one lane is open, so there's a jam behind it, but it's not as bad as it was. And westbound 64 is just lined up in the usual volume. That's approaching Hampton out through the Innerbout. Now, also northbound 170, a little bit slow at Airport Road right now. 70 westbound looks great out of downtown. 44 is in good shape, and 55 looks good as well. No delays if you're headed into Illinois. It looks fine on the bridges. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up. TrueContactHockey.com. My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broken, it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly because they're open till 8. JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. Jerry Kelly.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit ThrottleNet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, call trusted realtor Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria is St. Louis's real estate expert with more than 22 years of experience and expertise, helping you sell quickly and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially when life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Okay, it's a Reardon Roundtable on a Friday. We have State Rep Steve Butts with us in the studio, the mayor of Eureka, Sean Flower. Before I totally move from the immigration issue, I want to talk about the church and what happened there last week, because I don't care what side of politics you're on in that one. There's nothing that justifies going into a church service and starting to shout at the pastor because you think that the other pastor is someone who's involved, or what they claim is it's the guy that's in charge of ICE in Minnesota. But that was outrageous, and even more outrageous, Sean Flower, that a lot of people defended it.
Yeah, it's hard to even believe that people will get to that step where you're like, hey, I'm going to prove my point by interrupting a church service. And then you watch them afterward, they're all tough while they're in there, and then they're like, oh, I get invited in, or I'm like, come on. I mean, you went in. But I think it's incredibly ironic now that you're going after people that were involved with Black Lives Matter, and you're using the KKK law that they have in place to actually prosecute half these guys. So the world's it's on its head at this point.
You're a good Catholic, Steve Butts. You wouldn't want something like this. Would you want a bunch of right-wing activists storming down into the St. Stephen's Parish and start shouting at the pastor?
Activists coming into any church yelling anything. I mean, your church sanctuary, the word sanctuary should be that way. That cuts both ways. I absolutely condemn what those protesters did at that pastor's church. And there's plenty of Catholic pastors, just watch, screaming at ICE guys to get the heck away from the front of their church, because a lot of people that may not have all their documented papers in order are Catholic, and it cuts both ways. Church should be off limits for all this stuff.
But you had the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, and others that seemingly didn't have a problem with that, which is stunning. That
Ridiculous.
should not be a partisan issue.
They've had a judge refuse to charge one of them, so they're going to have to take it a federal charge. I mean, again, the whole system up there is designed to just be anti-law enforcement, period.
All right, let's talk about some local issues here. Did you see that Tashara is going to go to the Kennedy School at Harvard and do a little brainwashing or indoctrination of the students at Harvard. By the way, I think it's valuable. My friend Scott Jennings has been part of that program before with other liberals, and kind of doing a counterpoint with students. I think that's valuable. I don't know if it's valuable with a failed mayor of the city of St. Louis. I was shocked that she was hired by Wash U, but this is where we are with politics. Good for her, I guess, for getting the gig, right, Sean?
I guess how to spend $1 billion in funds and have nothing to show for it.
Steve, what do you think about that?
I read the story. Honestly, I'm happy for Tashara Jones. I mean, to get a gig at Harvard's a big deal. I thought it was a big deal she got, a gig at Wash U, just like you said. So I'm just glad she's no longer the mayor here in St. Louis, but I don't hold it.
We can all agree on that.
I just don't hold it against her that she got a job at Harvard. Good for her.
I think it's good for her too. I think it's bad for the students. That's my. I'm making the case for the students, not for her.
Well,
it's awesome for her.
She should definitely sit there and say it's real important in local politics to plow the streets. Don't forget to do that. You can't get to the big stuff.
That'd be lesson number one. She should be there today.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, she'd be there today telling that story, right? I think she'd be very valuable. In the meantime, on a serious note, and this is something that was reported yesterday by the St. Louis Business Journal, you have 2 marketing firms abandoning downtown. Channel 4 is left. Channel 5 is left. We're leaving. Okay, just so our company wants us out of here, out of downtown, because it's not safe. Okay, so we're leaving probably in about a year.
So you mean the radio station?
Oh yeah, the whole
Odyssey group.
Oh, we're leaving downtown. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we Fred keeps saying, have we made that official? Well, we're making it official.
I'm making it official.
Until somebody tells me not to talk about it. The bottom line is it's happening, and it's happening all over the place. You have Momentum, big marketing firm, right? 110 people out. You have an 8-story building that is Stadium 1 that's completely vacant. So where are people moving into the city, Steve, to create these economic opportunities and success? Because by my count, I'm not good at math, everyone is leaving downtown.
Okay, well, let's remember the Wall Street Journal article. The Doom Loop was out about a year ago, and, there was some initial pushback, but I think those of us that are downtown a lot, your eyes tell you the truth. There just aren't people. If the vacancy rate's gotten down to whatever, it's 35%, really, I think it is, of course, crime, the perception of crime, downtown areas in general, but it is, I think, one thing that has just changed in the work world. There's just less demand for office space and people coming to a central area, and there's conversions at work to residential apartments. I do think that is the hope for downtown St. Louis and many inner core downtowns. Even downtown Dallas couldn't be any different from downtown St. Louis. They have growing vacancies, and it's moving to the burbs, and a big part of that is remote work. So we have to reimagine it. I mean, you didn't mention the AT&T building, something that is a humongous 750,000 square feet. I think the biggest office building in the entire state has been vacant, fortunately not vandalized, but it needs to be converted. And we're actually working with a group trying to do that, mainly to apartments. It's the only way.
That guy's out of his mind.
Who's
going to rent an apartment at that place?
There are
high-end apartments.
Hopefully 350 wealthier people.
Okay.
It might. You never know.
I mean, it does
work.
I know. It does work.
That is not going to work.
What's weird, though, is you have a disconnect, I feel like, between the leadership and not trying to be offensive toward it, but I look at it, if I was in charge of that, you'd be like, man, we're on our back. We've lost. But I mean, we had a small restaurant in Eureka that had to, or 2 of them had to pull out, and you would have thought everybody was going, the city's going to collapse. And I'm like, look, things happen, change. The downtown area can have massive empty buildings, massive problems. I mean, they just had a story about how they're not collecting enough to cover their water bills. I mean, or their water payments. They've got a city set up for 800 to 1 million people and 800,000 a million, and then they've got 200,000 probably down here. There's no admission on leadership that they got a big problem and they got to change, and it's all hands on deck. And if this reimagining is going to happen, then put in place policies to reimagine it. But, I mean, you just can't. I mean, I see no functional. I go down to ball games. I come down here and do things. I've seen nothing but the general deterioration of it for 10 years. I have no idea. I mean, you can pick an apartment every once in a while or something, but, I mean, we can't even agree on the airport. I mean, I just don't see any positive signs down here that something's going to change until it hits rock bottom.
If you're Kara Spencer economic leaders, how do you convince people to come downtown?
Okay, well, here's the first part. I mean, you guys know this, that the residential occupancy of downtown has grown dramatically in the last 20 years. Dramatically. So there is demand for apartments in downtown
Well,
centers.
part of that is the expansion of Ballpark Village and the opportunities
Yeah.
to
Yes.
eat
Yes.
at restaurants and
Yes.
things
Well,
like
and you'll
that.
see pockets like
Excellent.
the Hill is kind of like Jane's down there, and you've seen the Hills. Some of those neighborhoods
all
that have
kinds of
tradition.
neighborhoods in the city are going great guns.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
the Hill. I was just at the Grove. There's all kinds.
Right, but
of
we're not
neighborhoods.
talking about that. And by the
But
way,
we're
when I say
talking
that we're going to move out,
downtown.
we're not saying. By the way, I'm not saying that we're moving out of the city. We're
You're
moving
saying
out of
you're moving
downtown.
out of downtown.
Right.
I hear you. We've got to fill it. We've got to backfill it in with people that want to live downtown in apartments. I think that is the only way to really attract enough critical mass to get St. Louis
But those would
downtown
be
functioning.
young people
They
who
will
would
be.
be looking to make six figures at least. We have probably a lower salary range because of our cost of living in some of these industries. I don't know.
But
I would hope for an economic miracle.
It's hard to get, but again, it's the layers of it. It's hard to get young people to come down here when you can't go to school here.
Yeah, no, the young people we're talking about in their 20s and 30s, they're really not that worried about schools at this point.
Well, they
I'm just telling
worry
you,
about it
they're
because
making-
property values tied to school. Everybody's worried about school districts. I don't care if you're. I mean,
Oh, you're talking about school districts.
yeah, I mean, you
Oh,
can't go to
okay.
school down
Yeah.
there. I'm just saying you can't. It's a very difficult place for kids, and I mean, especially the state of the schools and what's going on over here a long time. So that's another, and that's not the city's problem as far as to fix it. But again, it's like when you get to a certain doom loop on it, you're just losing quality, and people give up on it and leave rather than try and fix it. And these are all layered. You can't, they got to bite the bullet and get better and get smaller first. Then
I
come
agree,
back.
but I think the first step would be safety. I think we need more police. I think once you clean that part up, then things from there can start to change. People would be less afraid.
Right, but we've been
They
talking
would
about that
come
for a
down,
decade,
but
too.
it's just not happening.
We have, except crime is getting better. I mean, if the stats were getting worse, I'd be yelling about it. It's time to, I'm not saying we're celebrating, we're not popping champagne corks, but the last 18 months, 2 years since Gabe Gore and Chief Tracy and Kara Spencer and
Trump,
et cetera, Trump
I
has
don't know.
not
He's-
had a direct effect
Trump's
on
done it.
crime.
No,
in
he
the city of
said
St.
no
A lot
effect.
better this year.
He said no effect
crime
on
stat
crime unless
numbers-
it's bad.
Right, exactly. We're coming back with more.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still have one lane closed on southbound 170 at the eastbound 6440 ramp. It is the left lane. There may be an accident through there, or this could be leftover from an earlier police incident downtown. But if you are southbound on 170, expect a delay through there. It's just a slow go ramping on because you have to move to the right. Now, other than that, we're good because it's a Friday afternoon, and generally we are in good shape. Westbound 70 is in great shape. 64, a little bit slow from Hampton out through the inner belt, and then things open up. Plus, it's St. Louis, and even though it's not going to really snow till Saturday night, we're all headed home. So southbound 270, some moderate volume at Ladue Road, and that's it. 55 looks great, and no delays headed into Illinois. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm going to tell you about Thomas Helbig and the team at the Retirement Advisory Group. Would love to see you in person in the office. All you have to do is make an appointment. You get a copy of their latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. It's not easy to get a worry-free retirement, especially in this climate. Inflation, even though the market's been rocking quite a bit lately, inflation ticks away at a lot of the money that you have saved. We have events to announce, I think even as early as Monday. I'm going to tell you about a great group event that we'll have with Thomas and the team in February in Chesterfield. But right now, all you have to do is go to the website, retirementkey.com. There's a tab on the front page that says register. I think it's going to be updated on Monday for the next seminar. But right now, you can press on that tab and just schedule a meeting one-on-one. Go in, see if you are down with what they do with the Retirement Advisory Group. It's a little different. They have a key of safely linking to the market that locks in your gains, makes you more comfortable in retirement. Call 314-993-9494, online, retirementkey.com.
Wondering if dangerous contaminants are in your home's water? Get Leaf Home Water Solutions today. We can't live without water, but we can take actions today to make it safer and healthier. Leaf Home Water Solutions is offering a free in-home water test. Just visit leafhome.com/free to schedule yours. With results from their advanced digital testing, Leaf Home Water Solutions can design a whole home system and expertly install it in as little as 1 day. With Leaf Home Water Solutions, you can feel confident that each drop of water from every tap and appliance is cleaner and safer for you and your family. We can't live without water, but we can take actions today to make our family's water safer with Leaf Home Water Solutions. Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
From Wood River to Weldon Springs, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We will get a very updated forecast live from Dave Murray after 4 o'clock. We got Sue's News on a Friday afternoon. Paul Hall is going to be here to talk a little entertainment, both in the theaters and on streaming. Cusumano with a preview of the NFL Championship Series, and we'll talk a little college basketball. Steve Butts, you're a SLU guy. SLU is killing it right now.
Broke into the top 25, first time in a long time. This team is the real deal.
I love it.
I mean, we got 10 guys that can play. That's the thing. They bring the fire. Josh Schertz has just done a phenomenal job. Come on down to Chaffetz,
and they play. So you were telling me that George Mason is Tuesday night, and they're undefeated in the conference.
They're undefeated
too.
in the conference as well. So number one against number one.
Congratulations to SLU. My Mizzou Tigers are not as consistent right now, so we're not going to talk about them. Sean, I'll start with you. And the president goes to Davos, and everyone's all worried about Greenland. And I don't know about you, but I was getting ready. I told Fred the other day, we've not been asked to make big sacrifices in our life. I was going to suit up. You, me, Fred, Sue, we could have taken Greenland on our own. Steve Butts could have come along. But that, of course, was never going to happen. So Trump does this epic art of the deal thing, and he gets people going crazy, and he comes out of it with a deal that even the guy that runs Greenland, I think, is for right now.
Yeah, it's the classic one where everybody, that they make it's so foolish because you got everybody acting like this is like he's going to invade Greenland or he's going to do. We've seen the show 20 times. And then you get in there and you get a reasonable deal that, on something that most Americans probably didn't know was important, but the more they learn about it, I think they go, this is actually this is what you'd want a president looking at, something that's longer than him, that's important strategically, that, minerals, defense. I mean, it kind of seems like a bread and butter. It's a good deal. I don't know what, and again, I think most people are not that upset that Europeans are clutching their pearls because they don't like how he talks.
Well, I think the issue was sovereignty, and I get that. They're not going to hand over sovereignty, but this is different.
Do you really get that?
Yeah, because they're going to be. Yeah,
I really do.
No, I do.
Does Trump get it?
No.
Okay.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No, Steve, he does. Of course he does. Look, the best analogy I had for this, it's a little different on a different level, but Mark Thiessen was on the other day, and he said, look, we have Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, right?
Yeah.
Cuba has running their dictatorship just like they always have, but we lease that land and have for a long time in Cuba. There's leases involved here.
I knew we had a lease in Cuba, and I knew we write them a check, and they don't cash the check.
No, they don't cash the check. That's kind of weird, isn't it?
So we have free rent, I guess, for Guantanamo.
It's not a bad deal.
And I've had for a long time.
I didn't know
that's
that.
a good deal. I didn't know that either. I knew we had the base.
No, I heard that this week.
Cuba. I thought that was crazy. So the fact is, of course, we do have a military base on Greenland. We've had many military bases on Greenland, and it is strategically important. My point is always with Trump. And yeah, you can say, oh, well, they're clutching their pearls. That is BS. What I don't want in a president is to say the outrageous stuff, and I know people who love Trump love his outrageous talk, but to say, it was only 3 weeks ago, he's like, I will not take the military action off the table against an ally, against a sovereign country with their territory. That stuff like that is outrageous. You can't keep smashing your allies and friends in the mouth and say, hey,
you really
at the end I walked
we
away.
Were going to do? There was no chance ever that there was going to be a military invasion of Greenland.
What the president said.
Do you listen to what he says? Because he says things all the time that get taken out of context.
There was
like
no
very fine
context on
people.
this. There was no context on this. So this is my challenge because I knew we might talk a little bit about Davos. Did you listen to his whole speech?
Unfortunately, I listened to a good portion of it.
The whole speech, okay.
It wasn't the best. It was very boring.
The first 10
Are you
minutes.
saying he went on?
Yes,
and
he
on
did.
and on?
He was going on and on.
No.
I'm surprised.
So let's talk about. We always like to talk about when Biden was showing signs of dementia. We like to talk about that. Right?
Or signs. Yes.
Okay, more than signs. More than signs.
Okay, fair enough.
I challenge anybody listening. Listen to that whole speech. The first 10 minutes. He's sharp. He's pretty funny. He's witty. He really is. He's holding the room. And for the next 55 minutes, it is a crazy old guy with diarrhea of the brain.
Look,
it is
Steve,
what it is.
I've been tracking Trump for how long now? This is what happens when he's on the teleprompter, and he wasn't weaving as much. When he weaves, he gets off the teleprompter. He did sound tired, and he should have been tired. But you guys, I saw somebody on CNN making the case that all of a sudden, after ignoring Joe Biden's problems, this guy, he's lost a few steps. Oh, my God. He's traveling internationally. He was at the college, football championship. He goes to Davos. He barely gets any sleep. I think it's pretty impressive. I couldn't do that at 60. What he can do at 78 or whatever he is.
I want the guy to get some sleep at 80 or whatever he is, and I think he's manic. So what
happens. He comes out of there, and what is the risk of telling all these NATO countries that we've protected for years that they should pony up a little bit more? And to Sean's point, they don't have any military capabilities. They need us. What do you think Canada would have without us? Nothing.
Well, what did you think of Scott Bessent and how he handled that? Did you like that better? I mean, he came in and was like, "Hey, you guys in Europe we told you in the first term, don't buy all this gas from Russia, don't set up Nord Stream, don't do this." And then he turns around and goes, "And now you guys are funding the war you're fighting against." I mean, it's that kind of logic that they're at the underlying base. They're using logic, and he's got all these very smart, very sharp people that are negotiating all sorts of things. So I just think most Republicans tend to say, yeah, there's excesses. There's things I don't like when he says it. That's over the top. But they tend to look at the results, and they go, I like the results I'm getting at the end of the day, and I'll put up with the talk. Just like if Biden had delivered good results, they would have put up with the dementia. I mean, a lot of it's based on what the results are. So whatever his style is, whatever he's got to do, as long as he keeps making it work, I don't think most people care. But all the stuff about the norms and, oh, my gosh, somebody's offended or whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, they all hug and take pictures and do it. There's a lot of stagecraft on this.
There's a lot of stagecraft. All right, here's the Prime Minister of Greenland, though, talking about, because a big part of this is military, related to the Golden Dome.
Do you want to see the Golden Dome missile defense shield deployed here?
I want a respectful and good dialogue where we can discuss that kind of things. We already have a defense agreement with the United States through the Kingdom of Denmark. We are part of the NATO framework.
Right, but this is something very different and very advanced, and it's certainly something that would help the United States and our NATO friends as well. So we'll have to see where that takes us, and that's a big project, and I do think Brian's going to talk about that. I've got Kilmeade coming up a little after 5 o'clock, and I'll ask him about the Golden Dome. But look, I've gotten past this. It's taken me 10 years. But to your point, Sean, he says mean things. They don't like the fact that he says mean things.
And crazy things.
What's crazy? What's the part that's crazy?
What is the part? Let's just go from the Davos speech alone. The fact that he repeated himself 15 times in 45 minutes on reminding and lecturing NATO. I'm like, dear God, after the third time you said it. I am glad he got him to kick in more.
I think he's like a commercial radio show. Like he knows people are tuning in at different parts of his show, so he just kind of comes back and hits the message again. And maybe it's part of the strategy to just wear him out so bad at the end of the meeting that they'll just do whatever he wants because it's 45 minutes of uninterrupted, It's all strategy. He's
I think you give him more credit than he deserves. I could be wrong.
I just don't care.
I expect a higher bar of competency and
No, you don't, because you voted for Biden, and the guy slept through 4 years of his presidency and was an absolute disaster. So you do not demand that. You just don't like Trump, and that's fine.
And this is so true. And this is where I lose respect for my one of my heroes or former heroes, Mr. Springsteen, because you can't sit on the sidelines for 4 years, not say one word. Steve, I think you would be smart enough to admit this. If Joe Biden didn't let 12 million people over the border, Kamala Harris might very well be president right now. Joe Biden might still be president right now.
He might still be president right now. That's correct.
So you allow those things to happen, and then you wonder why the American people turn in the other direction and say, okay, we're going to give Trump a little bit of a pass because we'd like to keep our country. Okay,
but there's
is that too much to ask?
That is not too much to ask.
I'll give you an example, though, like decorum. I think it's interesting. So you're kind of giving statements at Davos and saying, I didn't like how he talked to him. There's one that stuck in my mind when Joe Biden, with kind of an accent, looked at that church and said, Trump wants to put you all back in chains. I mean, he used to regularly say things like that were incredibly divisive, wrong. I mean, nobody believes that Trump's going to put all black people back into slavery. But everybody just gives him a pass all the time. He used to say the meanest, nastiest stuff. The man accused the person that had the traffic accident that killed his wife of being drunk, ruined the whole guy's family. He is littered with actual, real road rash of everybody who's been around, and you don't care. I mean, I guarantee you don't care as much as you do about that Davos speech, and I never will understand it.
Sean, I care about both. I just say I care about both.
I mean, nobody brings it up.
The American people deserve better at the top.
Well, J.D. Vance will bring it for you. It'll be good. That's what you need is J.D. Vance. And
mic drop there. Coming back, one more segment.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we still have, there was an earlier police incident. Let me start there. And it had shut down eastbound 6440 around Hanley. Well, it's been reopened. But a part of what was closed in that was the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 40. And they've had the left lane still blocked through there. And it now looks like they've shut down that ramp again. So if you are trying to ramp on from southbound 170 to eastbound 40, you cannot do that right now. And traffic, of course, is slow behind it. But most people have freaked out because of the potential weather and really aren't out driving. So westbound 70, just some moderate volume at Jennings Station Road, and 64, just some moderate volume Clayton-Skinker through 170. And that's about it. Other than that, we look good even on 55, Steve, even on 55. And if you are headed into Illinois, we still look good on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Ooh, this report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes. From windows and siding to kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces, they give you quality craftsmanship and lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
So I love the fact, and Dave Murray will be here live with an updated forecast right after the top of the hour, but everyone's already not driving, and we're not going to get any significant snowfall until 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Right. So that makes complete sense.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Are you nearing retirement and wondering if you're truly prepared? When it comes to retirement planning, keep in mind financial and tax architects. FTA has helped families all across St. Louis plan to retire with clarity and confidence. FTA specializes in creating tax-efficient retirement strategies, showing you how and when to claim Social Security, and building an income plan designed to last as long as you do. Their Retirement Planning 101 class is an eye-opening 2.5-hour session offered on campuses of colleges and universities throughout the St. Louis area, and there's no cost or obligation to attend. You'll learn how to avoid costly mistakes, reduce unnecessary taxes, and make your money work smarter in retirement. Remember, you only get to retire once. Make sure you do it right. Call 314-888-5101 or visit fta-ria.com to reserve your seat today. Space fills quickly, so don't wait. Take the first step toward a more confident retirement.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, down to our last segment here of the Roundtable with Steve Butts, who is state representative running for the state senate. Sean Flowers here, the mayor of Eureka. Sean just shared some information with me I was unaware, and I think this is really important to share with the audience. But you were diagnosed with colon cancer in the fall?
Yeah, right before Thanksgiving, I went in for, I'm 53, went in for my first colonoscopy, so I was a couple years late. They found a 5-centimeter tumor that was in there. A couple days later, it was cancerous, and then you got to go through a process. You figure out, they scan your whole body because they don't know if it's just in your colon or it could be all over your body. It was contained, and then I went in and had laparoscopic surgery, so they removed the colon and about a foot of the tumor and about a foot of my colon, and then I've been doing. Right now, they would term me, I guess remission or not having it. I'm still getting checked and blood tests and that, but they didn't have to chemo me. But
that's good.
I always like to tell people they had a 26-year-old girl that was in there with a similar type cancer. So, the age is 45. It's not a big deal, but you ought to go in there if you can and get a colonoscopy. And if you ever have any type of bleeding you don't think you're supposed to have, that'll get you in with most medical coverage. But for what it is, don't screw around with it because it's anything you do is a lot better than going and telling your parents or your wife or sitting in your garage trying to figure out how do you tell them you got cancer on something that you at least had the potential to catch earlier. Catch it.
So when I got my first, I've had two, and I was probably a little late on the first one too, maybe when I was 52, 53. But right after I had my first colonoscopy, like this was either the day after or 2 days after, I saw a post from a woman who I was friends with in junior high. I had a big crush on, actually. Her name was Diane Cotton. And she had posted how she had lost her father 20 years ago to colon cancer and was putting out the call like, look, if he had gotten a colonoscopy, he might be here today. So there's no guarantees, but it is something so easy for people to do. And I've had too many friends that have ignored that, and it's great advice this afternoon, so I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm glad you're okay, too.
Yeah, I appreciate that's good, too. But and I was talking to Jane about that a couple weeks ago, and I think that's what her father passed away from. I've been shocked at the number of people who have had some experience with that or brush that you start talking about it. So it's like I said, I just try and tell people, but I appreciate you giving me a couple minutes and get a colonoscopy.
Great to see you, Sean. Thank you for coming in, Steve. Awesome to see you. You know, we got our Fish Fry Fridays coming up pretty quickly, too, so we're going to get you guys out on the road.
Thanks, Mark.
And we got Dave Murray live after the top of the hour. Hang in there.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've still got on southbound 170 at 6440 some construction. It's not construction. It's just crews not letting you onto the ramp to southbound 170. They've got that left lane blocked. You can only exit southbound 170 to westbound 6440 or go down toward the inner belt and toward Brentwood and that sort of thing. So that's the only thing that's available right now, and traffic is pretty slow in that area. But we've got a lot of people not driving. So southbound 270, there is some volume as you approach Gravois. We've got a report of an accident there. And 55 starting to slow now right around Bates. Westbound 40 a slow go, Hampton out through McCausland. But that's it. Other than that, we look good. And we look great on the Illinois side. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Tired of mice? Point Pest Control finds their entry points, eliminates the infestation, and seals them out for good with our exclusion services. Mention Annie to get 10% off on top of any other special. Call 636-798-0023. Visit Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
We love George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet. He is starting to come on the air with us every 2 weeks to talk about technology. We call it Tech Talk Tuesday. But ThrottleNet is really a great company here in St. Louis that if you're a business owner, you should take advantage of because they're going to offer you a free baseline IT security checkup. And you have to be aware, and George certainly sells this all the time when he talks about the disasters that happen when people click on something that they shouldn't. You could be just a click away from utter financial disaster that could really ruin your business. So there's a solution. That's the good news. And that's ThrottleNet right here in St. Louis. Most businesses, and George will tell you this, they don't actually know where they stand. Are you secure? Are you one mistake from a breach? They offer you a free baseline IT security audit designed to give you a very clear starting point within minutes. And all you got to do is go to throttlenet.com/971 FM Talk for that free baseline IT security audit. Throttlenet.com/971. Tell them that we sent you over. ThrottleNet.
Hey, Stewie, I'm hearing mortgage rates have plummeted. The Fed's making moves. Is this the moment where folks can start saving some money?
Annie, I'm so excited, and you should be too. This is a great opportunity. Now, there's numerous ways to go ahead and save money. One is go from rate A to rate B, reduce it at no cost with the bagel loan, and save $100, $200, $300, $700 a month. Another way is to reduce the term. We took a customer, went from 29 years left on the loan to 20 years. Their payment went up $35 a month, and guess what? They saved $170,000 in interest.
Does that mean we should wait or should we act right now?
Well, that's a good question. People ask me this all the time. The Federal Reserve is going to cut the rates. Maybe I should wait. No, the market goes ahead and adjusts for potential rate cuts in the future. So the rates are typically lower than when the Federal Reserve actually does something about it. So go ahead and refinance now. Later on, if rates go ahead and drop, we can always refinance you for free again with the bagel loan.
Contact my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan and MLS number 226715.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777. Just keep coming. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
I want you to make sure today that you're thinking about what you might need for the weekend through Monday.
Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey just declaring Monday a remote workday for non-essential state employees as a winter storm begins an expected run across some 40 states from the southwest to the northeast, with ice a big concern in the south. Josh Lamb is Georgia's emergency management director.
Georgia State troopers are prepared to respond and assist motorists, but do us all a favor and stay off the roads.
There's also concern about ice weighing down power lines, leading to prolonged outages. Multiple states already have emergencies in effect. Maryland Governor Wes Moore asking President Trump for a federal emergency declaration.
This will allow the federal government to provide resources, including personnel, equipment like generators, and also funds for protective measures.
The storm could dump 1 to 2 feet of snow in some areas, disrupting air travel in advance, with more than 3,000 flights canceled so far through Sunday. Thousands of protesters are out in sub-zero temperatures in Minneapolis, demanding that ICE agents leave the city. This as federal officials say a false narrative is being spread about a 5-year-old boy.
Those pictures of that 5-year-old boy standing in the cold wearing a Spider-Man backpack and a hat went viral after school leaders and then Democratic officials claimed that ICE was detaining that child and then using him as bait to try to lure the boy's family outside so they could arrest the family.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. Immigration officials say they tried to leave the boy with his mother after his father ran away while they were trying to arrest him, and that instead agents cared for the child who's now with his father at a detention facility. TikTok finalizes a deal to keep running in the U.S., but one Democratic senator wants Congress to investigate for more information about the joint venture. America is listening to Fox News.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No snow this evening, no snow overnight tonight, but it's cloudy, breezy, and bitter cold. 4 for the overnight low, wind chills below 0, well below 0. Saturday, cloudy skies, windy and bitter cold with light snow and snow flurries at times. Snow is going to be limited on Saturday, an inch or less across the St. Louis area. 14 for the high, wind chills below 0. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Got a Friday edition of Sue's News coming up here in just a few minutes. Coming up after that, our friend Paul Hall from Common Guy Films. There are a few movies in the theaters. We had Oscar nominations that came out. We have new streaming shows like Hijack with Idris Elba. Season 2 just started there. Shrinking. Why do you treat us like meat? Just pieces of meat? I don't know. Shrinking Season 3. I like that show a lot. That's Harrison Ford and Jason Segel launches this week. And I know Paul is happy about one of the Best Picture nominees because it didn't get nominated for the Golden Globes or the Critics' Choice, and it's a film that he was really pushing for.
Oh,
so
interesting.
He'll talk about that.
All
We
right.
got Cusumano talking a little sports at the end of the hour, and then Brian Kilmeade this afternoon at 5:04 for a little visit on a Friday. As we head into the weekend, obviously the weather is the big story. Dave Murray, Chief Meteorologist for 97.1 FM Talk, with us this afternoon with the very latest. Dave, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing great. Doing great.
All right.
Busy day, but I love it.
I
So
bet.
we played your updated forecast about an hour ago that was recorded, and it seemed to indicate, I don't know if anything has changed, that tomorrow light snow, maybe just an inch, but then the real stuff in our area doesn't come in until late tomorrow night, right?
Right. The before we get to the snow, I want to go over this cold again because the cold is brutal.
Yes.
For tonight, we're going down to 4 degrees. Wind chills are below 0 right now. We're below 0 all through the weekend, so just kind of keep that. Saturday, 14 for the high. Saturday night, 9. Sunday, 15. Sunday night, 0. And with the snow that I'm expecting, that could go lower. A lot of us could go below 0 Saturday night into Monday morning. So that's the big deal.
On the cold front, my son, who is a teacher in the Chicago Public Schools, where he sent me a screenshot this morning, it was -6, and I think it was like -30 with the wind chill.
Oh,
they
my
gave them off school
gosh.
today, like for a cold day, which I believe that was earned with
Yeah.
temperatures like
Oh,
that.
yeah. And I do think, I hate to predict school closings, but I think Monday morning is going to be really rough in the St. Louis area. I think the road crews will do a nice job, but they'll still be doing some cleanup. But it's going to be wind chills, and Monday morning could be -20. So,
Jeez.
That's
I
ridiculous.
think the kid, do your homework anyway. But I think Monday school is going to be a tough call.
So the stores are already, the shelves are already empty. There's a lot of people that didn't even want to do things tonight because they think the weather is going to be bad.
Right.
So let's set people straight on what we think is going to happen, because you could do quite a bit, I think, tomorrow without getting yourself
Yes.
into trouble, right?
And that's the problem with throwing why I don't throw numbers out until I'm confident of what this storm is going to do. When you start throwing numbers out too early, then everybody speeds the forecast up. Now, obviously, no snow is expected today. No snow this evening. No snow overnight. In fact, when we wake up early in the morning, there shouldn't be any snow. The first and second wave of this 3-wave system will produce some snow, light snow and snow flurries. I think the bulk of it is going to be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, but the air is so dry, it's going to take all day long to really saturate the atmosphere to get ready for the main event. However, because the roads are so cold, the air is so cold, this snow is a dry snow. It will be quite slick. So even though we may not get much of anything on Saturday, just be aware that there's going to be some tricky spots. The main event is late Saturday night and much of Sunday. Prime time, 11 p.m. Saturday night until 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon. That's when we see the heaviest snow, and there will be heavy snow at times. There could easily be an inch of hour at times during that stretch. Not the whole time, but at times it's going to really snow like a banshee. And when we're all done, let's say by 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday, about 8 to 9 inches of snow across the St. Louis area. A little less as you push north, a little more as you push south.
Wow.
I'm hoping it snows 8 or 9 inches or more.
Well,
That's my hope, especially on a Sunday.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I just don't like that it's so cold afterwards. I like, melt in 3 days and we're back to 32. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Oh,
yeah, that's the problem. And this stuff is going to stick around for a while because there's no relief with the temperatures next week.
Right. We have a little reinforcing shot on Monday, another shot on Wednesday. Wednesday could bring a little bit of moisture, but that's so far in advance. But the cold is with us all of next week, and the snow is going to be on the ground all of next week.
All right, Dave, thanks for the update. Keep us posted.
You got it.
All right, he's doing a great job as things change, giving us updated forecasts, and we'll make sure we share those with you as soon as we can. When I was a kid, one of the people that inspired one of the radio stations and group of disc jockeys that inspired me was the team Larry Lujiak, who did mornings at WLS Radio in Chicago, and I think it was on his morning show, but they used to do this thing called Animal Stories, and it was just hilarious.
I like it already.
They would tell weird animal stories from across the planet and, just kind of goof and laugh on that. And I kind of have a really good animal story. We all love our animals, of course. We all have dogs, and I have cats and a bunny. And every once in a while, armadillo or something like that around my yard. But this is about Veronica, who is a 13-year-old cow that has just made scientific history, Sue and Fred, becoming the first ever of her species documented using tools. Okay, so bear with me here. This is a brown cow who was born in Switzerland and lives on a farm in the Austrian countryside, has spent years teaching herself to scratch those hard-to-reach itches using sticks, rakes, and deck brushes.
I love this.
Veronica is able to pick up objects with her tongue, grip them firmly in her mouth, and direct them exactly where she needs them the most. Scientists from the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna have confirmed what her owner spotted over a decade ago. She genuinely knows how to use tools. So I guess there was a cognitive biologist at the university who put a book out on animal use, and her inbox was flooded with pet owners' messages claiming that, their animals use tools. Now, one person said that their cat treated an Amazon box as a house. Well, that's because it was a cat, and they go in boxes,
well,
okay?
There is that.
It's not exactly that. But among the everyday reports that weren't, really animals using tools was something remarkable. There was footage of this cow picking up a rake and scratching her back. And the professor says it was immediately clear that that was not accidental. And I guess it was an example and a meaningful one of tool use in a species that is rarely considered from a cognitive perspective. You wouldn't, expect that from a cow. But I guess, Veronica had a thick-skinned back or rump and grabbed the bristled end and applied sweeping and forceful movements. So good for her. She learned something, didn't she?
Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't see the video, but I saw a picture of it.
Same.
It's pretty funny looking.
I know. I have a picture of it, too. I don't know why they didn't link to the video. By the way, she's kind of a beautiful cow.
I think so, too. And I looked it up, and cows live 15 to 20 years, so she's been working on it for a while.
Well, they don't all live 15 to 20 years. Some of them are in my freezer right now, Sue. Yeah. But I thought that was a really cool story.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Congratulations to Veronica. Okay, just a little bit more here on what's coming up later.
Let's teach her to use a shovel.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But, that begs the question, Fred. Let me say something about the 8 to 9 inches that I said that I was prepared to enjoy, which sounded dirty, and I realized that, but I wasn't intended it to sound dirty. But I'm not shoveling that out of my driveway. I just made the executive decision on that. My daughter has actually done some shoveling. All right,
it's 9 inches.
I don't
worth?
care. I don't care.
Right.
She's in great physical shape. She's actually at a swim meet in Columbia right now, and she's going to be uber strong. So we'll wrap her up in some, clothes and get her out there shoveling.
Well, you know what? Okay.
One thing that might actually
work. It's going to be cold.
You know how I was expressing my love for the leaf blower, which you're still not sold on.
Yes.
But this snow will be light enough that if you don't roll over it with your car, you may be able to blow it, with the leaf blower a couple of times.
Oh,
Just
that's
keep that
not
in mind.
a bad idea. I don't have one, but I'll think about it.
Because it's a light. Fred, what do you think about that idea?
I think
that could
so.
work practically?
I just picture myself out there for hours just blowing it.
But you're right, though. If you
down.
keep up with it, right?
Right.
If you get out there, if there's just an inch and you remove it, and every time you'll be out there a while. But
I might give that a try. Sue.
Yeah.
I really might. But I have said this before, and I think this is somewhat relatable to the audience. In the last time we had a snow, this actually didn't happen. So the criticism would be, where the hell are all the kids, maybe not 10 or 11 like my daughter, but 15 or 16 or 17? We used to all try to make money when things like this happen, right?
Yeah, I'll be
so
interested.
I did have someone on our Facebook page in that snow in November say, hey, so-and-so is available if you want to have them shovel. And I've hired some kids in the past, but it's been a while. And we have this kind of turnover thing in our neighborhood where there's a lot of kids that are now older high school or in college, and then a lot of the kids are too young. So we'll see. But, yeah, I have no interest in shoveling that amount of snow. I want to make that clear. So
I think we got it. You get it, Fred?
Oh, yeah.
my daughter better be advised that she's going to have to bundle up and get out there.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we really have light volume. And if you are taking westbound 70 out of downtown, it's no problem. In fact, things are wide open from downtown all the way on out. It may be a little slow at Wentzville. What is an issue is the closure of the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 6440. They have shut down that ramp. You can only exit onto westbound 40. And it may be related to an earlier police incident we had in this area. Now, westbound 64 is lined up. It's approaching Clayton-Skaker. It goes out through the inner belt, and then it opens up until you get out to Wentzville. It's a little slow there, trying to merge onto 70. Southbound 270, just moderate volume at Gravois, where we had an earlier accident. And we look great if you're headed into Illinois. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Need a new garage door? Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door. Enter now at overheaddoorstlewis.com. Deadline to enter is end of the month. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We got a Friday edition of Sue's News on deck.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
When life happens and you need to sell your St. Louis area home, do what I did. Call my friend and trusted realtor Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's here with me today. Gloria is a St. Louis real estate expert with over 22 years of experience and expertise helping you sell fast and for the most money.
Selling your home can be so stressful, especially when life happens, like a sudden job change, a passing of a loved one, or a growing family. Knowing exactly how much your home will sell in today's market is the first step. Then I back it up with an upfront written guarantee. My guarantee is simple and easy to understand. If I can't sell your home at our agreed-upon price and time frame, I'll buy it myself.
When life happens, the name to remember is Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I strongly suggest you call her right now. It's 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
First thing that comes to mind when you hear Milano Cortina 2026. Stress.
Flame Bearers Making It to Milan brings you stories from women Olympians and Paralympians moving mountains to live their dreams, and the family, teammates, and coaches who make it all possible.
It's easier to be a role model when things are going good for you, right? Winning all these medals when you're doing so well, but what happens when you're struggling?
Tune into Flame Bearers wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I heard this song last night in a TV show I'm watching, and I hadn't heard it in a while, and I thought,
Ooh.
let's use it as a bump this afternoon.
Time was drifting. This rocket got
Climax Blues Band. So I'm watching this show on Peacock called Ponies. I was just telling Fred and Sue about it. We can mention it a little bit more here when Paul Hall joins us. But one of the things I like about the show, it's set during the Cold War. It has a great musical soundtrack, and this was one I'm like, you know what? I hadn't heard that song in a while, so let's use that.
I forgot all about this.
Right. It's a great song. I had not usually used it as a bumper anyway. We'll go out with the tail end of that as we get into the Fox Business Report. We got to do this here.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
A little something for everybody in today's, whatever day. It is National Pie Day. P-I-E. That's for me. I made a pie. And I will make a quiche with the other part of the crust. See, when I went to the grocery store, I panicked. I thought, should I be buying more? And I thought, I'm going to just use the other crust. So I got some mushrooms. I'm going to put it in that.
2 questions.
Yes.
What kind of pie?
Pumpkin.
Oh,
Thank
delicious.
you.
And then what else in the quiche?
I'm thinking cheese. I got cheese in there, and I thought that I may throw in, okay, this is a curveball, green beans, because I have extra green beans. How would that be in quiche? Anyone? No? Okay.
No. Marie just made a really good one. Cheese and spinach.
Yeah, I have spinach. I'll put some
That
in.
was really good.
Okay.
I
and onion.
like those every once in a while. I've never really made one myself.
Oh, they're
but-
easy.
Now, is it I remember when I was a kid, my mom called it like quiche Lorraine. Is that?
Quiche Lorraine is just eggs and cheese.
Oh, so that's different.
Yes,
Okay.
that's a specific kind of quiche.
Oh,
or
look at that. I learned
flavors.
something there.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's going to be good. And I'm going to make some whipped cream tonight and put sugar in it for the people. How about that? I'm on the edge. Okay, and here's the one for Mark. It's National Handwriting Day.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. When did it go bad? What happened?
So, honestly, Mrs. Lewis, my second grade teacher, who was super hot, and I recognized that when I was in second grade.
Wow.
She sent me home with a penmanship book that summer of 1973 or whatever it was.
Not
I
knowing
didn't
you
do
didn't read.
anything,
Oh.
and it was like, and here's some bad news. Like, my daughter apparently has my penmanship and not my wife's. It's not looking good right now. But yeah, people would say, you should have been a doctor with I have my own shorthand. That's basically what it is. I just can't read my own shorthand sometimes.
Yes, that's a problem.
Yes,
So
it
it
is.
all comes down to who your second grade teacher was.
Yeah.
Mine was Mrs. Coybian, and she was like 112 years old. So I have pretty good handwriting.
Coybian.
Coybian.
I've never heard a name like that.
Esther
I like that.
Coybian.
Yeah, that's Esther. There you go.
Coybian.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to write that down. I like it so much. Esther Coybian. Wait, you can tell me later. And Fred, that leaves this one for you.
Okay.
It's National Measure Your Feet Day.
Oh.
I don't know why, but if you'd like to do that,
Thanks. I'm
enjoy.
guessing 12 inches.
Okay.
Your feet are 12 inches?
I wear a size 12 shoe.
Is that how that? Wait, is that by inch?
Oh, I don't know.
But that.
Wait a minute. How do you size?
But he.
I heard it. Just yes.
I'm just gonna say that's impressive. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just stop there.
What do you think Ethan is?
Wait a minute. Will someone Google that for
what
me?
size shoe do you wear, Ethan?
I'm an 11.
Okay,
Oh.
I'm just a 10, so I'm just a little 5'10" pipsqueak.
It has to be by inches,
In
guys.
inches.
It has to
Yeah.
be.
Hold on.
What else would that be?
I don't know. I just thought
See,
it was
Ethan's not
random.
old. Fred, Ethan's not even remotely old enough to remember to go into a shoe store where they use that little metal thing to measure your shoe.
Yes.
Hold on.
Have you?
I sure am.
Okay.
I am old
Okay,
enough for
all right.
that.
Give me a buzzer, please, for that. Okay. Now, I got sidetracked there. All right. On this day in history, 69 years ago in 1957, toy company Wham-O produced the very first
Frisbee?
That is correct, Fred. They sold over 100 million Frisbees.
Oh, my gosh.
By 1977. I mean, that is outrageous.
Well, it was a big deal back then.
No,
I
it
mean,
was.
yeah.
I could remember my dad throwing a he had a good wrist action.
I always had Frisbee finger as a kid. You know how you would like cut that middle finger from
Oh,
throwing it
yeah.
so often?
I never threw that many.
My one of my neighbors down the street, Steve, has a great dog that is so good at retrieving the Frisbees. I've never had a dog do that, but it's so cool to see him go after him and grab it in his mouth.
It is. And then I think, boy, I don't want a dog with that much energy.
Well, there is that.
Which is why I have
Yes.
bulldogs. And 50 years ago today, this one is the one with music. In 1976, David Bowie released his 10th album, Station to Station, which featured this classic.
That was his 10th album?
Yes.
Wow. Kind of caught me off guard. That's a good song.
It is a good song.
Very, very fortunate to see him only one time.
Oh, that's great.
in
Where'd
my
you see
life.
him?
Rosemont Horizon. I was living in Chicago for a brief time in 1987, and I had maintained my record connections from here in St. Louis. And my friend Jean Hobel, we called her Bebop, I hit her up. She goes, well, I got one ticket. Do you want it? I said, absolutely.
Good for you.
I want it, yeah. And I
That's the
sat
right
next to a bunch
answer.
of people from WXRT Radio and had a great time. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Let's see. Also, 26 years ago today, I throw this in because this was in the year 2000. And this is when American Beauty won the Golden Globe for Best Film Drama.
I love that movie.
That was so good.
Yeah.
And what would the best television drama have been in the year 2000? Can you think about it? It's pretty big.
ER.
Sopranos.
The Sopranos,
The
yeah.
Sopranos was this day in history 26 years ago.
See, and I didn't even go to cable. My brain went to network television.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, the Eagles compilation, their greatest hits, 1971 to 75, is the first album to sell 40 million copies. This makes it quadruple diamond. And we've got a montage of all the songs in it. It takes less than 60 seconds.
Oh, I like the mashup.
I got a peaceful, easy feeling.
Who did the mashup? Did we steal this from someone?
We stole it.
Okay, it's good.
One of these nights, desperado.
All so good, aren't they?
Yes.
Why don't you come to your senses? You get the best of my love. Witchy woman, see how high
I'm just impressed with the mashup here. I
Yeah,
keep listening
yeah,
to
it's
how
pretty
well they have
good.
blended the songs. Oh, that was good. That was good. That is a very skilled audio producer who put that together. That was
Yep.
excellent.
Yep. But anyway, that is quadruple diamond. It's the first one to do so. It's pretty impressive. By the way, the trivia for there is some of the Eagles albums were not that big sellers. The best example is Desperado. It was their lowest charting. It only peaked at 41. It had no hit singles, even though the title track and Tequila Sunrise were placed on the greatest hits album. And there, they did well. I know. It's weird to think about.
Makes sense, though.
All right. There was a Delta Airlines plane that had to return to the gate on Sunday after de-icing fluids, leaked through the exterior of the plane and soaked a passenger inside.
Ooh.
No, thank you. This was at LaGuardia. And the passenger told the flight crew that the plane was leaking. He's like, dudes, I'm getting wet back here. The pilot asked to go back to the gate. He told air traffic control that the passenger was okay, but might need a new pair of pants. That's how much fluid came out.
Think he got his money back?
Oh, I hope so, Ethan. Delta said the de-icing fluids are non-hazardous and that fluid leaks are very rare. They went back to the gate, swapped the plane out so that maintenance could do something about that and fix the fuselage. We don't know if they got new pants, but can you imagine?
That's the most important part of the story.
Right? And I have no idea what happened. And as we head into the weekend, I thought we'd just do a little Brian Regan. Here's comedian Brian Regan on things you can only say if you have kids.
My wife and I, we have two wonderful kids and another kid. And the majority of your kids are good, man. No, we have two kids, I'm joking. They're both wonderful. I love being a parent. You get to say sentences when you're a parent that people without kids would never get to say. There's an actual sentence that came out of my mouth the other day. Buddy, don't try to balance your fruit juice between your chest and the table. Actual sentence I had to put together and aim at another member of our species. Actually, he was trying to push a plastic cup of fruit juice along the edge of the table, pushing it with his chest.
Why not?
How can you not admire that kind of effort?
Yeah.
People without kids would never get to say anything like that. Charlie, try not to balance your fruit juice between your chest and the table. You know, it does seem rather precarious. You know, when I set that on the table, it seems more solid underneath. That's what I was thinking. Thanks for pointing it out. You're welcome. Continue with your proposal.
There you go.
Because we're all going to be snowbound this weekend, and you may be stuck with kids, or it could be a pleasure, whatever. And finally, in Sue's News, we do have today's random fact. If you wonder why traffic is so terrible, as of 2025, there are over 242 million licensed drivers in the U.S., up from 237 in 2023. About 86% of Americans 25 and older have a license, but only 25% of 16-year-olds are licensed.
That seems really low.
Way low. I want to talk about that
We'll have
next
to
week.
investigate. I don't know what happened there, Ethan. I hit the button the way that I was supposed to, and we don't have what's supposed to air on the air, so I'm a little confused. And I had it all going smooth with the
I
bumper
know,
music.
that was
and
a great
everything,
joint.
And I
Yeah.
did it all right, and I pressed the button right, and then something went wrong. So should I do something differently?
He's looking.
That storm has already forced the major airlines to cancel more than 2,600 flights for Saturday, according to FlightAware. Many airports through the South and Mid-Atlantic will not be running flights due to the combination of snow, sleet, and ice. The two airports in Dallas have already canceled over 1,400 flights for tomorrow. Mixed results for Wall Street to end the week. The Dow Industrials fell 285 points, ending the day at 49,099. The Nasdaq picked up 65 points, and the S&P 500 added 2. Natural gas prices soaring this week, up more than 60% in the last 5 days. Prices today were up more than 6% at $5.36 per million BTUs. That's your money now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Let me talk about Game Day Men's Health. They have 2 awesome locations here in the St. Louis area in O'Fallon, but I want to talk about Chesterfield. That's where Matt Lawrence is. I've gotten to know Matt. He is very proud of the Game Day franchise that he has, and there's a lot going on. They have their own pharmacy right now. If you're interested in optimizing guys' energy levels with testosterone replacement therapy, well, they have a great offer for you, and this offer goes for anything that you might want to discuss with them. They have very advanced ED treatments. Medical weight loss is hot right now, peptides, and there's a lot of misinformation on some of this stuff. So they're offering you a free testosterone and PSA test. You make a 1-hour appointment. They're going to get you in and out in 1 hour, and you will be blown away by how much you get accomplished. The test will be done right away. You'll get the results back in 20 minutes, and then they'll guide you through a plan. And no matter what you are interested in, they'll take great care of you. And again, that new pharmacy that they have really offers you great prices. Matt is very proud of his pricing schedule overall because they're not going to add extras. You're going to get what they tell you you're going to get, and it's world-class treatment. Game Day Men's Health, Chesterfield, right there at 6440 and Clarkson and Olive, O'Fallon, Missouri as well on the website, GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test your skills, and win prizes while they last. VIP tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Built in the heartland, for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Friday afternoon, I believe that folks here in St. Louis and across the Midwest will have ample opportunity to at least watch movies or television streaming inside the comfort of their homes. Paul Hall is here with some recommendations. There's still a chance before all the snow hits to get to the theaters as well. Paul with Common Guy Films. How are you this afternoon? And Fred just shared your temperature from up in Milwaukee. You want to share what it was when you woke up this morning?
This morning I woke up. I take my aunt to dialysis as a favor in the morning around 5:30. It was minus 16 with a wind chill of minus 31, I believe.
That's ridiculous. My son had minus 6 in Chicago, and that's not that much further south than you are. Wow.
Yeah, it's minus 6 right now up here. So going down, I'm on my way to pick up my daughter in a little bit. And, it's not a pretty day weather-wise. But this is a good reason for you to get into a theater, maybe get some free hot chocolate. Some of the theaters are doing free hot chocolate to get people in. Others are giving you different things to get you in. If you didn't get in for National Popcorn Day earlier this week, you may have a little coupon if you did get in to get something else for free. Who knows? So there's ways to get into the theater and see some stuff, or just cuddle up and watch some good streaming services. And I got some decent recommendations, actually, for once.
What do you want to start with here this evening? You want to start with Mercy?
Yeah, let's go to the theaters for Mercy.
Detective Raven, I'm Judge Maddox, and this is the Mercy Capital Court, a judicial system powered by artificial intelligence. With crime rates soaring, lawmakers voted for mercy by acting as judge, jury, and executioner. You're before this court today charged with the murder of your wife. Oh my God. Your guilt must fall below the 92% threshold, or you will be executed in precisely 90 minutes.
Okay, hang on. Is this a documentary or a film? Because it sounds certainly realistic, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels crazy. It's Rebecca Ferguson is the AI-generated judge here. Chris Pratt is the man on trial. Basically, he's a detective in L.A. in the near future. He's a big proponent of this new system that they put in place. That if you're garnered to be over 92% guilty, you're going to stand trial this way. You've got 90 minutes to prove your innocence. Not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent by yourself on trial. And you've got 90 minutes to get to the bottom of it, or you will be executed on the spot.
Dang!
So you're in the chair trying to prove yourself not guilty. And he's a detective who is on trial for killing his wife. Now, whether he did or not, I'm not going to give you that, of course. But it's a cool little ride along the way. Here's the thing about this one that I'm going to tell you. It's interesting. It's a popcorn movie. It's fun from that perspective. There's a cool little bit amount of humor built in. It looks ridiculous at times. It looks very AI and computer gaming type of feel to some of the things, especially late in the movie. There's some things that happen that are very AI looking. But imagine this, if you will. You can go ahead and when you're on trial, you can access everybody's phone records. You can access the videos. You can access the videos from the street. You can access your personal videos, your secret Instagram channel. It's really cool the way everything goes throughout things. And it's not far from belief, I guess you could see at some point in the future. There's also hover bikes, which is cool. But other than that, it's a decent little thriller whodunit, and it's a tight movie. It's only an hour and 40 minutes long, PG-13 rated, in theaters. Now, it was shot specifically for IMAX. So if you've got an IMAX near you, you're going to get your best presentation of this to see. But other than that, I think you can see it anywhere. I did not see it in IMAX myself.
Awesome. What else you got for us this weekend, streaming-wise? I've been trying to pick up on some streaming stuff, so I'll be very curious to see what you recommend here this weekend. I know you talked about Hijack last week. I watched the first episode. didn't blow me away, but I'm going to stick with it and see what happens. I'll be very curious. I did not love the first season. I'll be honest with you. I watched it. Wasn't one of my favorites. I think you liked it a little bit more than I did, Paul.
I did, and it goes really well to the end. I kind of binged the whole season. I had access to it through my super secret channels, and Idris Elba back here. You didn't think after season 1 there was a way to do another hijack, but they find a way to do it, and it's a twist from the get-go on this as far as who's hijacking, and we're dealing with a train, or a subway train, as you can call it. It really picks up as you go through the series as we try a new couple connections with the first series. I would recommend you have seen at least some of the first season, or at least have some kind of working knowledge of the first season to jump in here. But first couple episodes are out now. We just dropped a new one. It's going to be weekly going forward. Next week, starting Wednesday, I have to apologize to everyone. I thought it was coming out this week. It's actually coming out next week. That's shrinking. Season 3, Harrison Ford's back. The whole crew from that great show with Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. You will have a fun time with this.
I like that show a lot. It's
Do you?
good, yeah.
How intense is it? Is it light? What is it?
It's both, because
Okay.
they deal with serious issues, because Harrison Ford's character has a little early onset. And I really think it's funny. Jason Segel's got a unique character. He's a very funny guy. But they touch on topics that are not, unserious. They're very serious topics, but it's executed well, and a great cast.
They don't stray away from covering difficult stuff, but it's lighter. There's a lot more funny moments that will take it in a different manner. I mean, from season 1 on, you find out that Jason Segel's lost his wife, and there's a lot to unpack. And when you're dealing with therapists, it's kind of that fun little unique atmosphere to it. I love the series Shrinking, and season 3 is just as good as everything you've seen to this point.
Excellent. All right, so I started watching 2 shows this week. One I believe you wanted to talk about. It's called His and Hers. I love the cast. Not sure if I love the show. I watched 1 episode of this. This is Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal. They play a married couple that I think are kind of on the outs a little bit, but there's a mysterious murder of a woman that they both know and are friends with in the woods, and she's kind of murdered in a rather unique way. And so that's the premise. It's set in Atlanta. The character that Tessa plays is a former news anchor, a journalist, and it's in this little town called Dahlonega in Georgia. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with it because I've only watched the first episode. Have you seen more than one of that?
I've seen that whole series as well, and quite frankly, it gets better as you go because you don't know exactly where they're going to take it. Dahlonega is a small town. For those of you, there's plenty of these around Missouri, Illinois. You've seen a number of small towns. You can't get away with everything and anything, and everyone knows everyone in some sort of way. So things that you find out along the way, and those friend groups that were around 20, 25 years ago are still there, and there's still grudges and whatnot. It really plays out really well, and it's adult in nature. So this is not something you want your kids in the room, because you will see sex, you will see violence, you will see all those things that kind of make it very real on screen here, something that you can't see on a network television show, let's just say.
All right.
I liked it.
I'm going to recommend, just because I've watched 3 episodes of this, and it's light. I like it. It's called Ponies. It's on Peacock. This is set during the Cold War in 1977. A couple of secretaries who lose their husbands, who are spies. The Dragon Queen, Amelia Clarke, is in this, playing Bea Grant. I love her character. Haley Lou Richardson is, I think, trying a little bit too hard in her role. But this one's light and kind of funny, and I like it so far. Have you seen any of Ponies?
I have not. That's one I definitely want to dig into, because everything I've seen about it has been something that would pique my interest along the way. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think one of the best things about it is Amelia Clarke in a role like that. I think people will be impressed. Now, 2 things I also want to mention. I wrapped up Landman. The finale was last weekend. Personally, I felt season 2 was better than season 1, and I can't wait for season 3. And Paul, I finally saw Song Sung Blue. And, I raved about it before Christmas because I was familiar with the documentary that it's based on. I thought that Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman were fantastic in this story about this couple from Milwaukee who were Neil Diamond, and she did a little Patsy Cline tribute act. It's phenomenal. It sticks to the truth of the story. There's a great Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, angle in this. And I was really impressed. And, it's tough when you know the story and you're so connected to the story, because I had interviewed Lightning when I worked up there in Milwaukee. It's fantastic. So see Song Sung Blue. I think you can rent it and you can buy it right now. It's really, really good. And Kate Hudson nabbed an Oscar nomination this past week.
Oh, good.
She did, yeah. That Eddie Vedder moment, Mark. I actually was at that Pearl Jam show that Lightning and Thunder opened. It was a weird, surreal moment. Yes, I was.
I did
not know that. It was at Milwaukee Summerfest on the lakefront. I actually happened to. It was the one Pearl Jam show I went to in my life, and they were the openers. It was quite an interesting night. Yeah, I should mention briefly before we get out of here. Check out the Copenhagen Test over on Peacock if you're looking for a kind of an action-adventure thriller series. Simu Liu is really good in this. It's the idea of having something implanted in you that will broadcast everything you have out on the web to people. Interesting film or series. And I'm so glad you mentioned the Academy Awards, because my favorite film, or one of my favorite films of last year that nobody nominated or recognized to this point, F1 got a Best Picture nomination. And I'll tell you what, there's people out there that are saying, oh, why is it there? Why is it there? You know what? Because sometimes people like regular movies and they don't need to be all artsy every time.
There you go.
And that's what you need a common guy to tell you.
I'm going to try to watch it this weekend because I still have not watched it. And I remember you saying very recently that you were disappointed it did not get a Critics' Choice nomination or Golden Globe. So I was very excited when I saw that. Paul, tell folks where they can find your reviews.
CommonGuy.com.
Have a great weekend. You guys are not, it's so funny because you're not getting snowpocalypse, but you got the temperatures well below zero. So hang in there.
Yeah, all weekend long, we're going to be plummeting down to highs in the negative digits.
Stay warm. We'll talk next Friday.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We look good on the roads. Now, westbound 70 is in great shape. There's a little bit of volume on northbound 170 at Airport Road, and southbound 170, the ramp to eastbound 6440 is closed. And as a result, we do have some slow-moving traffic there. You can only get off and go westbound, but we've got light traffic this afternoon. Now, 64 is lined up. It's just about approaching Hampton, we'll call it, out through 170, and then it looks fine. 55 is in good shape. Southbound 270, just a little slow at Ladue Road and 21. And if you're headed into Illinois, we really look good on the bridges downtown. No real delays through there. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they have been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out, from windows and siding to kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces. And they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Most people spend decades saving money for retirement, and that's great. But few of those people, I think, and this is most of us, learn how to turn those savings into lasting income. And that's why we need the help of people like financial and tax architects, because they know how to do that. And their idea is if we teach people a little bit about how this works, they'll see how we work, and we can come then to a decision for us to help them figure it out. And they'll look at everything you've got, the income that you've saved, the income you'll have in retirement. They've got advice on when to take Social Security, how to deal with taxes. But start by going to one of these classes. They're free, but they fill up quickly. So if you're within 10 years of retirement, or even if you're already retirement, go. Just go to FTA-RIA.com, F as in Frank, FTA-RIA.com. Go to a class. It's one night. It's 2.5 hours. But just by going, you're going to feel better about retirement.
Cusumano is coming up next.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
Mark Cox here. This is my invitation to you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. There are cobblestone streets and postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps everywhere. We'll explore the Swiss capital of Bern and Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. Plus, we'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace and beautiful Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. Colette handles all the details, from flights to meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining me. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or visit 971talk.com to learn more. The number again, 800-581-8942. Call today.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brian Kilmeade after the top of the hour, right to Frank Cusumano, sports director, KSDK. I hear you're heading to a comedy show right now.
Yes. Going to see Nate Bargatze. Really excited about that. He's one of the few great, clean comedians in the world. I love him.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Do you know, by any chance, because he's super tight with Greg Warren, is Greg one of the warm-ups of the show, or do you know?
No, in fact, I did talk to Greg the other day about it. He is closely associated with him now, but I think he had another engagement before this one, before the relationship with Nate really started. And he's going to be somewhere else tonight, but not in St. Louis.
Well, enjoy the show. I've heard it was fantastic. He was there last night as well. Let's talk a little sports here. The Billikens are actually in action, or are actually in action right now on our sister station, KMOX, and I think they're beating the Bonnies right now. Frank?
Yeah, they're pounding them early. It is early. They're off to a 16-7 beginning, and they've come out really shooting the three well. Mark, it's an incredible story. They're 18-1. The average margin of victory is 24 points. And as I said before, I can't picture a prolonged slump or even a slump in a game, because that means like 4 or 5 guys would have to play poorly at the same time because they have 9 that are really good. The skill level is just off the charts. To see Robbie Avila open up the game with 2 like 25-foot three-pointers, they are just so exciting to watch.
Frank, would you say that right now, it's still early, there's a lot of time until March, would you say they are the best mid-major team in the country?
Well, Gonzaga is really good too, but I think it would be those 2 right now on an island. And who knows what happens if they finish this regular season or after they win the conference tournament like 32-1 or 33, and if they have 32 or 33 victories, if they could actually be, a 5 or a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Meantime, Illinois continues to be very good, and then Mizzou, they had this opportunity against Georgia the other night. They clawed back. They should have had the victory. It's just going to be one of those years for Mizzou basketball. They're going to lose games at home, and it's tough on the SEC, so we're going to have to wait for this big recruiting class from Dennis Gates for next year. What are your thoughts as we head into this weekend about the news this week of Yachty being back with the team? Although we kind of had that news a couple years ago, and nothing ever happened, but this time seems different, Frank.
Well, I still think it's a really overblown story. We've heard the same story for 3 straight years. He's going to be a special assistant to Hein Bloom. When people think he's ever going to join the coaching staff,
He's been to Pittsburgh for 19 years. He's made over $100 million. He doesn't want to get to the ballpark at 11 a.m. and hit fungos and then have a meeting after the game at 11 p.m. Is it a good idea for him to be with the organization? Yes, and particularly now because we have a plethora of really talented young catchers. If you can get like a spring training out of him and maybe a couple of times a year working with the young catchers, that's great. But in terms of having a major impact, no, I don't think it's happening.
Do you think we're headed toward a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl or maybe a Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl? I'd like to think that the Broncos can be competitive, but they got a quarterback that hasn't thrown one pass this year, as much as Ethan and I and you have. So we're about as qualified, I think.
Yeah, it would be St. Louis's worst nightmare to have the Patriots and Rams in the Super Bowl. The Seahawks game with the Rams is really interesting because both the games decided by 3 points or less. Sam Darnold has not been big in big games in the past, but I do think the Rams are going to have a tough time with that incredible defense in Seattle this week. And then we have this Jarrett Stidham, who hasn't thrown a pass in 2.5. Do you think Sean Payton can coach up quarterbacks? I know he has a big arm. I've seen it in college. You know, I would love to see, an upset by the Broncos against the Seahawks.
Frank, Scotty Scheffler off to a hot start in the first tournament of the year. What are you seeing from him?
Wait a minute, was he the one? I just got a text. Did he shoot a 60? No.
He shot yesterday. He shot a 63, and now I haven't seen what he shot today, but he is leading the tournament out in California.
Yeah, here's the story. Blades Brown just shot a 60 today.
Oh my gosh.
That does seem insane.
And by the way, who? Can I just say who? No one's ever heard of that guy.
Yeah, you're right. Blades Brown just shot a 60. That's crazy. Yeah.
He shot a 64 today, Scheffler. So he goes 63, 64. He's -8. But Blades Brown, who no one will remember, I don't think, on Sunday evening as he falls from the leaderboard, he went up 50 spots shooting a 60 today, 67 and a 60. That's pretty incredible. All right, what's coming up on Sunday night, Frank?
Well, we sat down with Coach Drinkwitz earlier this week to talk about his recruiting, and they really did well in the 11th hour in the portal. And but we're like on the borderline of not having a show because of the incredible weather. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Enjoy the show tonight at Enterprise, and we'll talk on Monday.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We will talk post-snowpocalypse, right?
Oh, yeah.
But everyone's safe for tonight. If you haven't heard the updated forecast, Dave's going to be here in a few minutes. What it looks like is no snow tonight, no snow tomorrow morning, a little bit of snow maybe late morning, early afternoon. But Dave says like under an inch. And then the wave comes in tomorrow night, 11 o'clock, through Sunday at 6 potentially.
Yeah.
Winter storm warning. Dave says, and he's very cautious on his totals, 8 to 9 inches in our area. But you'll hear him right after Fox News.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got light traffic out there right now. If you're taking westbound 70 out of downtown, it looks great. Now, the only issue we've got is, well, at least on the interstates, is the fact that the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 64 is shut down, and they will make you take the ramp to westbound 40, or you can get off the interstate at all, or in general. So if you're southbound on 170, that's the cause of the delay. Now, westbound 40 is slow. It's approaching Hampton. It goes out through the inner belt, and then things open up there. 55 looks good. 270 southbound's in good shape. Now, there's some volume on the Illinois side, and it's Route 3 at Monsanto. It's mainly southbound Route 3 that's lined up. Slow-moving train. But things look fine on the Illinois bridges. If you're headed into Illinois, things look great. Really no delays through there. This report is brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Annie here, and I can proudly say no more spiders in my home. I use Point Pest Control 4 times a year, and I haven't seen any, not a single one, since they've been in my home. Mention Annie and get 10% on top of any other special. Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-2 230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
You know, there's a certain way we do things around here, the Grasser way.
The Grasser way?
We don't cut corners and we don't take shortcuts. Not on the little stuff and not on the big stuff.
We do the big stuff.
That's right. Whole home generators that kick on the moment the grid gives up. Lights stay on, heat stays on, your family stays safe, so your house stays warm.
And your ice cream stays frozen.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Did you know that 60% of adults over 20 avoid going to the dentist due to deep fear of dental treatment? Knowing that many of our chronic health problems can be directly related to the harmful bacteria in our mouth, not going to the dentist can be very dangerous. Hi, this is Dr. Michael White. I've been helping the dental anxiety patient for over 20 years with anxiety-free sedation. This is very effective and very affordable. Call my office at 314-270-8552. That's 314-270-8552.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's 2026. Time to get your home zero resified. 3 rooms of carpet clean, starting at just $119, plus a free hallway and 15% off regularly priced services when you mention 97.1 FM Talk. It's ZeroResSTL.com.
I love this song. I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A major winter storm setting up to impact 40 states. Fox Weather's Jane Menard says there's a good chance of widespread power outage due to ice.
From the Mississippi Valley into the southeast, we've also seen the power outage risk grow up the I-95 corridor, D.C. to New York City. The likelihood that we could lose power as we see snow move in by Sunday and perhaps a little sleet mixing in towards the back half of this.
As the storm turns toward the northeast, forecasters say we could see blockbuster amounts of snow, with Washington, D.C., New York City, and New England expected to get at least a foot of snow. Several states already declaring states of emergency. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey telling people to prepare now before the snow hits.
If you can do it, stay indoors this weekend. It's just going to be way too cold. If you do have to go outdoors, please dress warmly in layers. Don't have exposed skin.
Georgia Emergency Management Director Josh Lamb.
Georgia State Troopers are prepared to respond and assist motorists, but do us all a favor and stay off the roads.
The storm already disrupting air travel with more than 3,000 flights canceled through Sunday. The U.S. Southern Command says it's conducted a strike on a vessel in the Eastern Pacific, killing 2 people, saying the ship was traveling along known narco-trafficking routes and was engaged in narco-trafficking operations. Hundreds on the street in frigid Minneapolis to protest against the surge of immigration officers in the city.
A huge turnout when you consider the weather, and you can see a sense from the signs, some biblical, some with swears, but really all saying the same thing. They want ICE out of here. They don't like what ICE is doing here.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Minneapolis. Wall Street stocks ended the day mixed. The Dow lost 285. The Nasdaq gained 65. America's listening to Fox News.
It's game day.
Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
No snow this evening, no snow overnight tonight, but it's cloudy, breezy, and bitter cold. 4 for the overnight low, wind chills below 0, well below 0. Saturday, cloudy skies, windy and bitter cold with light snow and snow flurries at times. Snow is going to be limited on Saturday, an inch or less across the St. Louis area. 14 for the high, wind chills below 0. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Brian Kilmeade coming up here for a rare Friday appearance. Our friend Jen Say from XXXY Athletics at the bottom of the hour. I want to talk to Jen about, we always kind of talk about some of the gender issues with her, but there are a couple of hit pieces this week on Barry Weiss, who has now taken over the news division at CBS. She, left the New York Times as an opinion columnist, started the Free Press, and was purchased by Paramount and then made, the boss of CBS News. She's made some changes. There's some stuff that could be in the works. I'm hearing some big salaries like Gayle King might be gone, even Scott Pelley and some of the others. So it's been interesting. Fred, you were pointing at me like you wanted to say something.
Yeah,
did
you see that news today is that she's taking a hiatus from her podcast?
Who, Barry is?
Barry, to focus on her CBS News duties.
I didn't know she had one. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think she's had one because of the Free Press, and she does, it's a video podcast. But the reason I bring her up is because Variety magazine, which is one of the Hollywood trade publications, and then there was another publication, I think this week, that basically did a hit piece where in Variety it was like 11 people from CBS say it's just a disaster and all this stuff. Well, Jen Say used to run Levi's, right? She was the chief marketing officer, and she said when she took over, same thing happened, employees complaining, and she tries to institute some pretty basic things to get the company in shape because the company was failing. And so she'll share some of those thoughts, and we love Jen anyway. She's a great guest. I'm going to ask Fred this story because I'm curious. I have a bit of a policy in my life, and I don't end up going to a lot of weddings these days because I'm not in the demographic.
Yeah, the age group.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not a dancer, Sue. I mean, you might imagine I'm
not either.
I'm a white sober dude. Okay, I don't dance. I danced when I drank, and I don't think I was good then, but I know I'm not good now. So, Fred, are you a dancer?
Not at all.
Not at all. Does Marie give you trouble about that, though?
She's the opposite. She loves to dance, but she knows by now.
Okay.
That I won't.
I'll do like a little slow dance or something like that. But I'm not getting down and doing any shimmying or anything like that. So years ago, I was offered an opportunity. This probably goes back maybe 13, 14 years to participate in what they do locally. They do like a local Dancing with the Stars, right? And it's for charity.
Oh, I didn't realize this happened.
At the time, I can't remember what movie it was, but I was in Hollywood, and I asked Juliana Hough, who's beautiful and a dancer, of course, and I asked her advice, and she's like, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to. So I actually thought about saying yes, and then I chickened out.
Yeah.
I totally chickened out.
I get it, though.
Yeah, I don't think. See, what you're doing is in your brain, you're trying to envision me dancing, and it's a disaster. And you're saying, Mark, you made a good decision because that would have been really, really bad.
I'm also thinking of myself and Fred, and none of us can do it.
Okay,
that's
good
right. We need to do like an AI video of us dancing. Then we can see how good we could look.
Yeah,
well,
that's
tomorrow, the Independent Center is putting on the local Dancing with the Stars, and I bring this up because my dear friend Jeff Drew We call him the King from Belle Reef Country Club, with his niece Katie, who is a beautiful young woman and a strength coach. I've played golf with Katie before. She's a good golfer, too. They are trying to raise money. Katie's in the lead right now with $111,000. You can make donations if you go to independencecenter.org. Jeff invited me to the event tomorrow night, and I said no because of Jimmy Failla, but Jimmy Failla has canceled and rescheduled. I want to say postponed. He is coming on April 11th, which is a Friday night. No, I'm sorry. It's a Saturday night in April.
Okay.
It's a Saturday, sorry, because my birthday's on that Monday, so we might have to take that day off. But Jeff Drew is going to put himself on the line with Katie. Look, Katie, I have no doubt that she's going to be great tomorrow night for the local Dancing with the Stars. Jeff, on the other hand, I don't know. They've been practicing. We'll see. Maybe I'll have to sneak in. But if you want to make a donation, and they're trying to raise a bunch of money, they're about 60 percentage points. No, I'm stating this wrong. They're 62% along the way of a $700,000 goal. So if you go to independencecenter.org, you can make a donation. And best of luck to Jeff Drew tomorrow night. And if I don't go, please, somebody get video, because I have to have that. All right, I mentioned Jen's coming up. We have an audio cut of the day as well. Brian Kilmeade with us this afternoon for a rare Friday visit. How are you, Brian?
Good. What's going on?
Well, snowpocalypse is going on, and I know it's going on the East Coast. If I'm a guy like you, though, and I have a place in Florida, I'm going to Florida this weekend.
We'll be able to get back. Not if you want to work on Monday.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you guys, look, we're supposed to get, and they keep adjusting this, like 7 to 11 inches. Jimmy Failla was supposed to be here tomorrow night at the factory, Brian. You played there last spring, and he canceled the show. He postponed it until April. But I see parts of your neck of the woods talking about maybe up to 2 feet of snow, if not more.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, it's going to be the biggest in 10 years. I'll believe when I say it. I mean, it's pretty much going to hit 50% of the country, so it's one of those things. I always think about weather. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to prepare for it.
I like it. So I grew up originally in Chicago, and I lived 10 years in Wisconsin. And look, I don't love driving in it, but I like big snows. I love to run the dogs around in the snow. So I don't really mind it. And since it's on a weekend, it's not as big a deal. But man, I don't know what they do out where you live, Brian, but we get just a whiff of severe weather here, and the stores are emptied out. I went to my Walmart this morning in High Ridge, Missouri, and there was barely anything there. I got the last 2 bananas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, good luck with that.
Thank you very much. All right. How do we handle this story of the 5-year-old boy abducted by ICE, dragged from his family, or was he abandoned? And, there's another side of the story, because the media certainly has gone with this narrative about the 5-year-old kid. They're always going to kind of lean in that direction when you have someone pulled out of their home in their underwear like the guy was last week, or in this situation. But thoughts on the way that this is being covered, and, do we know what the truth is? I don't even know at this point.
Well, this is what we know. They said that he ran away when the ICE agents popped up, a Border Patrol popped up. He ran. The kid was left alone. When they got the guy, brought him back, they knocked on the door, and they said the person they thought there was the mother refused to take the kid. And then the neighbors go, we'll take the kid. But the father goes, no, I want the kid with me. So they had to put the kid with the father. The question is, did the guy use the app? There's been a report that the guy used the app during Biden years, crossed over, and he made an asylum claim. It's all BS, the asylum claim. All you had to do is say, I'm scared, and you got to stay. Under Trump, that would never work. So regardless, if he was doing things the right way since crossing under the old rules, should he have been hunted down? And that's the question. But in terms of how the ICE agents act, I think it's pretty clear. They didn't grab an ICE agent. They didn't grab a 5-year-old as bait. Because the kid was left. Dad ran. And that's when the agents still went with him. And now they're in good conditions. They're in decent conditions now somewhere in Texas.
But even after, the last, 12 or 15 hours where some of the narrative has been corrected, I think you still have some major news outlets on Twitter, when I was on earlier today, still blasting the story, not really mentioning the other part of the scenario, if you will, of course, which is to be predicted.
It's 93% of all the coverage is negative.
Yeah.
Does it sound like anything? Exactly like they do with Trump.
Yeah.
So, right now we have unemployment staying roughly at 4 or 5%, okay? 3.8, 4.2, whatever it is. It's unbelievably low in the big picture. And then you have growth that we haven't seen before. 4.2, 4.4, and now it could be 5% growth for the GDP, okay? Wages are going up. I'd like to see them go up faster if I'm an economist, but they're going up. So now there's no unemployment problem. Then you have costs going down, maybe not fast enough. I got that, but you only go so far. There's so many different products. Maybe tariffs have something to do with that. That might be a legitimate criticism. I haven't really seen that. I think most people are eating the tariffs, and now we have a situation where the economy's growing, opportunities there. Utility costs are a state issue, although Trump will get blamed for that.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, is there any chance that people are not thinking clearly? They're thinking on everything partisan.
Well,
everything ICE does is wrong.
I would say if you're a journalist at the New York Times, the Washington Post, I think it's a legitimate story to go back to last spring when you have all these economists, the experts, the guys who are supposed to tell us what's going on, predicting that we're going to be in a recession by the end of 2025. And now we're talking about potentially 5% growth. You get a number like that during a Democrat president, and they are cheering for days on the headlines and on CNN because that's a huge, huge economic number, especially when a recession was predicted.
Well, put it this way, this is both a Democrat and Republican compliment. They're about to, unless now the Democrats are really stupid, pass a legitimate, all the appropriations bills. Supposed to pass 12 appropriation bills on time, and there's no shutdown. They couldn't do it in the fall. But now, as we know, we had the shutdown. And now they're about to pass out of the House. They did all 12. They handed it over to the Senate. And even Chuck Schumer says, I got a lot of my stuff in here. I'm like, what? I got a lot of we had a lot in here. So Democrats and Republicans actually just went to work. So regular order. Now, if Democrats want to make a stand and defund ICE, that would cause another shutdown. So I don't know if they're going to want to do that. But can you imagine what the economy would be if they did not have the shutdown? And, because the shutdown, for number one, we lost all the numbers, and then people lost their jobs temporarily. And then,
that was a
month.
month.
You don't have any money coming in, you don't spend anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole month period, so you're absolutely right about that. The Davos trip, I want you to talk about Trump there. I mean, he kind of did the classic art of the deal thing with Greenland, seemingly going to keep their sovereignty. The Kingdom of Denmark is still going to be involved, but we're going to have some leases, some mineral rights, and some options for military strategery, if you will, like George W. Bush used to say, and the Golden Dome. So it seems like a pretty good deal.
I think it's going to be great. I hope they go in there and get some extraction going on the rare earth. Let's start building up those bases, make a big deal of it. And then, of course, we got to accept the Golden Dome. I mean, I thought the Golden Dome was pie in the sky until I think I told you I went to NORAD. And then I happened to stumble onto the guy that was tasked with doing it. I go, wait a second. What do you know about the Golden Dome? He goes, I'm in charge of it. I go, what are you talking about? I go, is it possible? He goes, it's absolutely possible. Let me show you. 2 weeks later, he was in the Oval Office. So when people say the Golden Dome wouldn't work or it's not, it is, believe me, that's a plan. It's expensive. That's the thing. So, how are we going to do it? I did not know. We were only equipped to knock off rogue ICBMs, rogue, I should say, from North Korea and Iran. We figure it's going to be mutual destruction when it comes to Russia. So we don't even have missile defense. But now we will, which is going to be unbelievable. Which, at this point, should we really protect Canada?
Well, it's a legitimate question, I think, for sure. And on that topic, because here's one of the other criticisms of the president, and this is not new, Brian. It's been there from the first term, that he does not treat our allies, our friends, with respect. That he treats them sometimes like our enemies. I'll be honest, I'm not always crazy about the tone that he takes with NATO members, but he also seems to get things done at the same time. And then I know Gavin Newsom says they're all wearing knee pads, but a lot of them, if you hear what they were saying this week in Davos, have come around to support a lot of what Trump's trying to do.
Listen, they have no defense. They don't put any money into defense. We have been watching their back. Can you imagine how much money? If I could give you an extra $1 trillion into your government every year, we're spending $900 billion. We're going to ask for $600 more billion for our defense. A lot of that is for Europe.
Yeah.
And it ticks Trump off. He's like, who signed off on this? Well, they signed off on it in the Marshall Plan, and they never stopped. And now, France has got no defense. UK's got no military. Denmark for their weight, and Belgium for their weight, but Luxembourg and all these countries, they're mad at us because they don't like our tone. Really? We are literally watching your back every day. And then Latvia, I couldn't believe this. The Latvia president said, where the crisis is over. We're not out of the woods yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we get on Latvia's bad side that could be taken in 45 minutes by Russia if it wasn't for our presence in allowing them into NATO?
Excellent point. They don't really think of it along those lines. Brian Kilmeade back with us as we take you into the weekend. All right, what's coming on Sunday night?
I got Steve Mosher to break down China. Is there really an alternative where the Europeans want to go? Got the Ruthless podcast. Guy's great. And then I got Larry Kudlow to tell me what the president's year-long economic message should be. He loves these numbers. He thinks people are just having Trump derangement syndrome, some of this. So we'll take a look at that. And we have Carly Shimkus on the media. And I believe I'm forgetting one guest, Senator John Cornyn, on his tough race in Texas.
Awesome.
So we'll see where all this goes.
I don't know how you have any more time if you do that segment on the media. That would take up the entire show because there's a lot of material. Brian, have a great weekend. Survive snowpocalypse, all right?
You too, Mark. Enjoy it.
Take care. That's Brian Kilmeade. You hear him every morning here on 97.1 FM Talk. I don't know if you guys were paying attention when I started the interview, but, Brian's got a place in Florida. And I said, if I had a place in Florida, I'd be down in Florida. And then he said, this is the difference between me and Brian. And really, it's the difference between most people and Brian. Brian's like, yeah, but then I can't get back to work on Monday. See, I'm like, yeah, and I can't get back to work on Monday. That's what I want to do. Slight differences, though. But, he's a workaholic, and that's what happens. And if you didn't hear the announcement earlier, Jimmy Failla is actually not coming to the factory tomorrow night, unfortunately. It was probably, even though I think people are going to be able to get around on Saturday, Dave Murray's saying this stuff's going to move in late tomorrow night. Probably the smart move because of the level of panic. But the good news is Saturday, April 11th, Jimmy's coming back to the factory.
Plus, you don't know what will happen at airports at other cities.
He was supposed to get in tomorrow afternoon. I think that was very risky given the amount of flight cancellations. So that might have had something to do with it. Look, we've been tracking this the last couple of days. They didn't make a call on the postponement until like midday today.
Yeah.
And again, you got to go with what you see out there. And you're right, the flight schedule probably had something to do with it as well. Jen Say's coming up at the bottom of the hour from XXXY Athletics, and I have an audio cut of the day.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
No real major issues except one right now, and that is the closure of the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 6440. And it's related to an earlier police incident, but that's what's happening. So if you're southbound on 170, you'll have to get off the highway or get onto westbound 6440. And that has created a little bit of volume there. Now, we have light traffic. I think most people are home already. But there is some volume on 70 between 94 and 370, and it looks like it's just moderate volume in both directions. Westbound 64, it's a slow go from Hampton all the way through 170. And then out west, we actually look pretty good. And if you're headed into Illinois, things are fine on the bridges downtown. Eventually, I expect to see some volume on eastbound 40 and coming across the Poplar as people join Frank at the concert tonight. Well, the show tonight. Nate, again, at Enterprise Center, but it hasn't happened yet. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Need a new garage door? Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. Deadline to enter is the end of the month. You can't win if you don't enter. Overheaddoorstlouis.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Extreme cold weather coming in through St. Louis this mid-January probably. If you're having issues with your furnace, give me a call. If you were told you need a new furnace, without a question, give me a call. You'll be happy you did. We're all the same when it comes to like buying a furnace and air conditioner, just like with pretty much anything else. If you're like me, I want a furnace that heats, and in the heat of summer, I want an air conditioner that works. Pretty much simple. So is a more high-efficient air conditioner or more high-efficient furnace give me more heat, more cooling? No, it doesn't at all. It gives you the exact same. So with that being said, you need to call me. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600, or you can do the online thing, and it's Bart Inman, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact-check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Friday afternoon, so I thought I'd throw a little bumper music in. I used to throw a lot more in, and then they said I couldn't do it. The edict was handed down, but this is a guy named Steven Sanchez, and this song is called Sweet Love, and it's a wonderful song. Very uplifting. I love that guy, Steven Sanchez. He's got a lot of different sounds on his record, too, and this is a little different than some of his other stuff. So I recommend that to you, Fred, because you're looking every once in a while for musical recommendations. Yeah, you'd like him a lot. Steven Sanchez. How about this, though, for music? And you know what's so disappointing about this is I was actually very prepared here in the next few weeks to make a declaration on this guy, Bad Bunny. And I've been listening to a little Bad Bunny music. This is true because I wanted to prepare myself for the halftime show. And when I listened to some of the music, I came away with the thought that this guy is going to exceed expectations because I love the Latin influence. There's horns. There's a lot of different sounds. So I thought, okay, there's an opportunity here for this to be a great Super Bowl halftime show. I'm going to keep an open mind. And then today happened, Sue.
What happened?
Well, all right. Now, I don't know if this is 100% true because the media lies a lot, but there are reports today. I hope this is not true. Bad Bunny is planning on wearing a dress for the Super Bowl halftime show, according to a report from Radar Online. Now, what's interesting about this is there's no denials today. You know, you would think if a story gets out there like that someone, whether it's Jay-Z or somebody else goes out there, that's not going to happen, right?
Well, why? I mean, if there's a good
I will
reason.
tell you why, Sue.
Okay.
Of course there's a reason. Are you kidding me? What do you think it is? He is going to pay tribute to queer icons, drag culture, and political resistance tied to Puerto Rican history. One stylist involved in the planning described the move as deliberate and provocative, saying that Bad Bunny is intentionally trying to spark controversy. Duh. Another source said the outfit is already in production. Let them complain. The dress is already being sewn. So congratulations to the NFL for further alienating their core demographic in this country. Now, I understand that they're trying to put this, Roger Goodell, on an international playing field. And they played games in Ireland and in England and in Germany.
Well, they need more money, Mark.
Well, I mean, what's funny is I will tell you that, when this whole Rams thing went down and there were all these predictions about how the NFL was going to, that was such crap. Roger Goodell has really done a good job. I mean, the amount of revenue that they have grown year after year is incredible. So you got to say that they're doing something right. But something like this just makes no sense to me whatsoever. Okay, let's have Bad Bunny do his show. Maybe you then have no control over what he wears, but he's going to go out there and pay homage to queer people. Because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if there is one subset of people in this country that need more attention, it's queer people. Because it's not like we have months out of the year days out of the year, flags that are raised at City Hall and everywhere else for queer people. I mean, we talk about them every single, there's a Trans Awareness Day, there's a Trans Awareness Month, there's Pride Month, there's everything. Every little subset of all this weirdness is out there, and they get a day or a month or a year or whatever they get. And Bad Bunny's got to go up there. We're just looking for some football and maybe some American music for our American culture. But nope, we can't even get that. Yeah. I hope this is wrong, though. I hope the story's wrong because I'm telling you, I was thinking this guy's going to be good. He's, there's no doubt he's got chops. He's the #1 streamed artist on the planet, right? But we're just going to see American hatred and address. Nice job, Roger Goodell. I got a little bit more Steven Sanchez to go out with, and we'll come back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got the closure of the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 6440 causing delays tonight. And that's the worst of it. Other than that, we look pretty good. I mean, westbound 40, a little slow, Clayton Skinker out through the inner belt, but 70 westbound, really only slow just at Cave Springs, and then things open up there. 64 out west looks great. No delays on the Poplar Street Bridge. 270 is in good shape. And 55 looks good, too. So not bad. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Things that I've rarely heard Sue Thomas say. 55 looks good, too.
Right?
It's not typical, is it? Let's talk about Susan L. Ward, who is a fantastic family law attorney here in the St. Louis area. And, of course, these are very tough areas of the law. I went through a divorce 2 decades plus ago. It was a very tough time. Now, I've said this before, and this is true. I hired someone. I went to another attorney who was a friend of mine. Her name was Barbara. And I said, Barbara, I need an attorney. She was more in the corporate world, and she introduced me to this guy who was brand new. I'm most certain that I was trying to do this on the cheap. And Carlton was his name. Super nice guy, had no experience, didn't really seem to know what he was doing. That's the opposite of what you're going to get with Susan and her team here at stlfamilylaw.com. Get in contact with her as soon as you can if you think there's trouble in the marriage. But then also don't forget there's all kinds of post-divorce issues, modifications to orders, child support changes, grandparent visitation. All these things come up, and Susan can handle all of those areas of the law, and that's what they've been doing for 2 decades plus here in St. Louis. The focus on family law, the emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Get bonus golf balls and Pro Tour tickets while they last. Presented by Post Dispatch. Shop with Pro-Am Golf. Play Sinclair Lincoln's Long Putt powered by Evolve Putters. The Back 9 Crestwood Simulator. The Battlehawks Chip Shot. And sip drinks by Skimmers, Tito's, and Four Hands Cannabis at the Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st in St. Charles. Thanks to Gateway Golf Cards, Booth Creek Wagyu, and Amateur Players Tour. Special tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From Alton to Wildwood, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Audio cut of the day coming up before we wrap up. I have to say something before that segment, and I never do this, but I'll explain in about 10 minutes. Yesterday was rather historic. I forgot to do something, but I will explain. I'm actually wearing my XXXY gray T-shirt today underneath my Mizzou shirt. I bring it up because Jen Say is back with us from XXXY Athletics. How are you, Jen?
I'm good. I have a little cold, so pardon my congestion.
Oh, that's going around. You know, I was going to ask you, and I just answered the question myself because I went on the website. But you know, we're in snowpocalypse zone here in the Midwest in Missouri, and it's freaking cold. And I wear, you know, like beanie caps a lot. And I'm like, I need an XXXY beanie cap. Lo and behold, I was going to tell you to create one, but you have one, so I just have to order it.
Yeah, we have several. We have a black one, a gray one, a red one, a white one. We have an alpaca one, which is kind of fancy.
I love it. I did not know, so I'm going to make an order. By the way, is it my imagination? I have YouTube TV. I'm seeing XXXY ads when I'm watching Fox News on television. They're pretty slick. That's cool.
Yeah, that's not your imagination. That's new. We have an ad running right now on Fox. It'll also be on some sports programming soon, not on Fox. It's called Backwards, and it basically speaks to this moment and the Supreme Court cases, the oral arguments that were just heard, and the fact that we can't go backwards. Women can't go backwards.
We can't. Let's talk about that Supreme Court case and the arguments from a couple of weeks ago.
I guess I'm struggling to understand how you can say that this law doesn't classify on the basis of transgender status. The law expressly aims to ensure that transgender women can't play on women's sports teams. So why is that not a classification on the basis of transgender status?
What's percentage enough? There are 2.8 million transgender people in the United States. What makes a subclass meaningful to you? Is it 1%, 5%, 30%, 15%? One is not enough for you, but why?
Well, fortunately, the liberal justices, I believe, are going to be outnumbered on this particular case. And we have to be reminded, and I know you know this, Jen, that Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first voice you heard, could not, during her confirmation hearings, define what a woman is. And last week, as you know, Josh Hawley grilled someone before a Senate subcommittee who refused to admit that men can't get pregnant. And we're still doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. And in the courtroom, I was in D.C. I was on the steps at the rally outside. I was not inside the courtroom. But when asked, the ACLU refused to define sex and said basically that it was irrelevant. They're the lawyers in the case for the two males who are suing the state to be able to compete in women's sports. They refused to define sex, and they said it was irrelevant to the case, but it's the entire point. Title IX was created so that women – based on the basis of sex, women were provided legal protections in the education system, and that included sports. So now these boys who claim to be girls get to be counted as girls and covered by Title IX. That's their argument. But that was not the intent of Title IX.
So it seems like most of the people who followed that case came away with the thought, and you can usually tell based on the questions, that the court is going to uphold these bans in states like Missouri. So that's good news.
Yes, it is good news. But all it does, and this is how we got to the ad, to come back to the ad that you saw on Fox, is all that means is we don't go backwards. It doesn't mean that we go forward. So what that means is in the 27 states that have laws currently protecting women's sports, they are permitted to keep those laws. Those laws are considered constitutional. It doesn't require that the 23 states, one of which I live in Colorado, others are, California, Maine, Washington. It doesn't require that those states uphold Title IX and protect women's sports. So they'll continue to allow boys to compete in girls' sports. So we still have work to do. We really just kind of hold the line if the Supreme Court comes down on, the side of sanity here. But we still will have a lot of work to do.
I can't believe that that's still the case. You're right. I understand what you're saying, but I can't believe that we're in a situation where people can't use common sense on this particular issue after all of these things that have been going on. By the way, here's President Trump on this.
Big Supreme Court case, and I can't believe it. Some of the justices were fighting hard for men to be able to play in women's sports. A couple of them. I can't imagine it, but I think anybody that rules that way should lose a lot of credibility. But we banned men from playing in women's sports. All you have to do is look at the records, look at weightlifting records, look at swimming records, look at track and field. It's not fair. It's very demeaning to women.
I mean, the fairness issue is pretty clear. That was a pretty special day, though, on those steps. I know you say you weren't inside, but really a lot of the activity was right outside, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was incredibly special. We had a rally. I spoke there on the step to the Supreme Court. The rally featured, I don't know the number, maybe 50 women who've been at this for some time, fighting for women and for girls. It was athletes and currently competing athletes and lawyers and me and all kinds of advocates. And there was a counter protest right next to us. And they had no speakers. All they did was try to blare music really loud to drown us out, which I think speaks to the dynamic in the country on this issue in particular. Is the other side doesn't really offer up any sane argument because there isn't one. They just try to shout us down and drown us out, but we won't be drowned out. We had way more people there. Everyone was wearing XXXY, which made me really proud. Just so many smart women, I think, that have risked a lot, honestly. I mean, so many people that were there advocating for women and girls have been at this for, 5-10 years, and many have lost a lot, but they've stayed true because the truth matters and girls matter.
I think it was impressive that, I don't know if you got to meet him or if you know Coach Bruce Pearl, but Bruce Pearl is not coaching Auburn anymore. I know him from way back in my days in Milwaukee. He was out there advocating for women, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. There were coaches, Coach Melissa Beatty-Smooth, who, was pushed out of San Jose State University for standing up for her team, her women's volleyball team, which had a male on it, standing up for the female players. I did not meet him, but there were amazing coaches and athletes, and it was a really inspiring day. It was the motivation I needed, I think, to keep going because this is tiring work.
Yes, that's great. Well, I want to talk to you about a different issue here because I saw you tweet about this, and I mentioned this a couple of days ago. So Barry Weiss, a couple of hit pieces. Variety goes out and finds 11 people in CBS News. I could do that. I know some of these people who are breaking bad on Barry because they're progressives who have agendas, and they're not real journalists. And it's insidious at CBS News, and I don't know how Barry's going to get past all this. But you made a great point about, the people, the anonymous people that are being quoted. You had a post on Twitter that talked about when you became chief marketing officer at Levi's, you had some of the same pushback from some employees, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what is happening here isn't really very unique. When you have an organization that's struggling and new leadership is brought in from the outside, everybody that's currently in the failing organization decides they hate that person and that person stinks and they don't want to do what that person says and that person, isn't doing things the right way and the way they've always been done, which, by the way, has been leading to failure. It's probably intensified, obviously, in this issue, in the situation with Barry, because there's extreme political and ideological differences. Not that I think Barry's right. I don't. I think Barry is centrist in a lot of ways.
Right. Oh, very much so. Yeah.
I don't even know what I would actually call her.
I think she's a left-leaning centrist, but that's that's fine.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I don't disagree with you there. She has some issues where she veers on, but yes. But what's unique about this situation is that rags like Variety and the New Yorker decide this is newsworthy. The disgruntled employees who were doing things the wrong way don't like someone who's trying to do it in a new way. That's not news. That's just leadership transition. But they report on it like it's news. And so I shared an example in that tweet of when I took over as CMO of Levi's, and I had all these young people. I described one in particular in my office who come in under the guise of pretending to be helpful, and she told me everybody hated me, that I was doing everything wrong, and she put her feet on my desk, and she knew so much better than me, and I just ignored it. I mean, one of the things you have to do when you take over an organization that isn't performing is you have to sort of observe quietly for a while, and you have to understand who's doing the work, who's really good, who's undermining the organization, who is going to get on board and follow and do the new direction and lead, and who's going to undermine your efforts. You have to sort of observe for a little while, and that's what I did. And then you make the decision, and that's what, you have to do as a leader. And maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but it wasn't working before. So I'm rooting for Barry. She's got a tough right. Like CBS is the weakest of the three big networks in a dying medium, TV news.
Yeah.
So she's got a tough hill to climb, and I think she's, trying to do some things really different. I think she's trying to bring some truth back to network journalism, bring some digital and podcasting and all the things. And I don't know, I just found it really ridiculous, frankly, that the New Yorker found it worthwhile to write an article. But of course, they're on the political side of the anonymous sources in the article.
Of course. But what I loved about your tweet, you indicated, look, the brand Levi's had been in decline over 10 years. And you say, what I had done in my first 2 months, say no one could go on trips anymore unless they had a role at the photo shoot or event. No more boondoggles. 2, no drinking at events or concerts we were hosting. We were there to work, not party. 3, this is radical, say marketing needed to feature actual product in the ads. How would you do that, Jen? And then also say we needed to move away from dark and moody and into the realm of fun because people have fun in jeans. That was just radical and dramatic that you wanted to, put those changes into play.
Yeah, I was a boring fuddy-duddy. I wasn't cool enough. I didn't know. You have to understand, at a fashion brand, there's parties, and we hosted concerts all the time with, big-name artists, and those are fun events, but we're working. And there had just been this recklessness that had taken hold when I started, and a lack of discipline, and people would just go to these events and not do the work, and they just were having too much fun, frankly. Like, I'm fun, I want to have fun too, but not when you're there to work, you're there to work.
That's right.
So
I think you're fun.
My point was, thank you. My point was I was sort of instilling some basic disciplines, and that made people really mad. Like, there's nothing really very radical in what I was saying there, and there's probably nothing very radical in what Barry is trying to do either. In getting at truth and finding more balanced inputs to get at the truth. It's probably basic principles of journalism, and everybody's up in arms.
Well, it is, except that the problem is, and it should be about journalism, but it's not, because journalism has changed so much, and the people that are going to fight against Barry, they're not looking to do things a different way. Sharon Alfonsi, if she gets fired, or Scott Pelley, they are fighting for the old way of doing things, and they think that she's on the wrong side of this. And I went to school at the University of Missouri Journalism School, and there are people that I was so-called educated by who are writing on blog posts advocating for agenda journalism, and I'm just shocked by it. I really am.
Well, that started, I'm sure it started before then, but it started in earnest, and it became the official policy around 2020. There were whole op-eds in the Washington Post, like, our job as journalists is basically to be activists, and not, well, actually, it probably started in 2016.
2014.
Now that I think about it. With
2014
Trump
well, it was I'm going to say Ferguson, because some of it changed then in 2014, right here in St. Louis. Yeah.
But there were a handful of pretty famous op-eds on the subject, and I think Trump really caused everyone to lose their minds, and so it became their mission to oust him. That was the job, not to report honestly on what was going on in the world. And there was a real shift that was very purposeful. That was, journalism is not about getting at the truth. Journalism is about supporting a point of view and getting rid of what they perceive as the bad guys. That was Trump. So, I don't think they're shy about it. The news became the opinion pages, pretending to be news.
And then they took 4 years off between 2020 and 2024, too. They had a little vacation during that period. All right, I'm off to order my beanie on XXXY, and hopefully it can get here tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to zip along the mail service, but I am going to order one. But, Jen, thank you so much. I hope you heal up from the cold. We'll talk soon.
Thanks,
All right,
Mark.
take
Bye.
care. Have a great weekend.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, the issue in traffic this afternoon has been the closure of the ramp from southbound 170 onto eastbound 6440. And that ramp is still closed. A police incident to blame. But if that is causing a delay in that area, so if you're southbound on 170, that's what's going on.
Yeah, so just to expand on that, KMOX is reporting on this.
Good. What are they saying?
Well, apparently there were police cars that were involved in this particular accident. So I have Sean Malone, who's one of the reporters over there, posted something on Twitter saying there was a long line of police vehicles at the entrance to the BJC hospital. That often happens when you have an officer-involved shooting. But in this particular situation, Michael Calhoun, another reporter over there, said that some of the officers were actually involved in the crash. and
That
the
would
vehicles
be
were
why they're-
facing in the wrong direction. So I don't know what happened.
So they're probably out there then, the accident recreation,
Yes,
or
yes.
trying to figure out what's going on. All right, well, westbound 40, just a little slow at the inner belt, and then it opens up. 70 westbound looks great, and 55 is in good shape. Southbound 270, just a little bit of volume westbound on the Poplar. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, let's get your bathroom remodeled, and let's do it with some great professionals here in St. Louis. And let's do it on a budget, too. I want to guide you into the help of Michael's Baths. Mike Gower has a great family-run, owned, and operated business here in St. Louis, and all they do is bathrooms. All they do is bathrooms, and they care about their customers, and they come in at 30 to 50% less on the bid. So if you're looking for an affordable facelift, you need a shower area to become a safer space, Michael's can give you a free quote. They're awesome. They have a great reputation with a lot of 5-star reviews on Google's. The number to make an appointment today. And always do us a favor. Mike and the team are great sponsors now of this show. I love to have them. We got to support them. 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com. One of the things that I always like to mention, too, is that they work with customers who are approved by the VA for a grant that could pay most, if not all, of the price of the bathroom project. So if you qualify for that, you may want to ask them about that. michaelsbaths.com.
4 distinct seasons, sometimes within a single day. Dave Murray's got you covered with Air Comfort Service heating and cooling weather. Every day on 97.1 FM Talk.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation, so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we're going to take you into the weekend here, and as we close out for Audio Cut of the Day, I had to put a little bit more music in than I like. This is a band called Pulp, and the song is called Gotta Have Love, and I love it right now. It's on repeat. But you know what, Sue? As you know, and Ethan pointed this out yesterday, it was a bit of an historic day on the Mark Reardon Show. I forgot to do Audio Cut of the Day.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Sometimes I cheat and I don't play the sounder because we, might not have enough time. But today I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to play the sounder.
Stand by. Playback ready. Now, the Audio Cut of the Day.
Since I did not do one yesterday, I have to make up a little bit. I have a couple things that I want to do an update on. Remember this fine nurse from Florida that we played?
I wish for Caroline Lovett. She is pregnant with a baby girl, and I truly do hope that baby is so healthy. I hope she's healthy and headstrong. So headstrong, in fact, that as she is emerging into this world through Caroline's geriatric garage, that she tears her from bow to stern. Grade 4 tear. Like so big that when she gets out of the shower naked and walks across the room, like she accidentally picks up dog toys. Yeah, that's my wish.
Chandra Petrie Cesarek there is unemployed now, thankfully. She's a nurse. She was a nurse in the delivery room at a hospital in Florida.
How did she think that was going to end?
You know, that's a great question, Sue. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, and I've reviewed a lot of those things.
We
and you go
all
over
have,
right, but
yeah.
but unfortunately, some of my things are public, and I say things and I get in trouble. You know how it is. I'm in the public eye, but you have to think, as evil as that was. I mean, that was evil crap there. That wasn't just satirical poking fun at someone and saying they don't like them. That was really bad. And, I said this when I played the bit the other day. I'm not really on board with canceling everyone that says stuff on Twitter because we all say stuff that might not be appropriate. But that crossed a severe line, so she's gone. All right? Now, let me play a couple more here. This is AOC talking about ICE.
Any step in the direction of reining in and cutting the funding of an agency that is attacking U.S. citizens, that are kidnapping 5-year-olds, that are using them as bait to open doors, and that are privately circulating that they can violate everyday Americans' constitutional rights by busting into their doors, they deserve to be defunded.
All right, let's talk about the 5-year-old kid. That was the story of the day. Evil ICE picking up the 5-year-old. Well, Dad kind of ran away, and then what are you supposed to do? Just leave the kid there?
I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy, and I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien, and then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death?
It's the same thing if you arrest someone in St. Louis for murder or for another violent crime. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's not even something that's violent, but you're going to take the kid into custody. You're not going to leave a young kid at home or in a car. But that hasn't stopped. The facts of the case, of course, don't change the the ladies at The View or anyone else.
The fact that ICE used a 5-year-old boy, Liam Ramos, detained a 5-year-old boy to bait his father into coming out. So if you want accountability, you need to get this rage, channel it to the ballot box, and make sure that Democrats win the midterms.
So this is where journalism plays a role. What really happened? Because I'm telling you, if you Google that story, you look at the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, you tell me, if you come away from reading one of their accounts, you tell me exactly what happened there. Because the narrative is not matching the facts. And if they were real journalists, look, this thing spread like wildfire. The View everywhere. Oh, it's about the 5-year-old. This is what they want. And they have a moment. It's a fake moment, but it doesn't matter, right?
And they have a lot of them.
Right. And they're going to keep racking them up. And they're not going to tell the truth about a lot of this stuff. Anyway, have a great weekend. Try to survive snowpocalypse.
Yeah.
I guess we'll be here Monday.
I guess.
All right, good luck, Sue. Take care.
Thanks.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still have the ramp from southbound 170 to eastbound 6440 closed. It's all due to earlier police activity. And other than that, we look good. People are already home and not driving. So southbound 55 in good shape, 44 looks good. And you're in good shape if you're headed in from Illinois. We're quiet on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants.